Logan, can you see this? If so, let me know in the chat. I'm here all by myself.
Going on there, Alex?
All right, I just was able to talk to 21 Savage Auto Racing, Wyatt Canadal, and they say that they're just riding around right now. They don't plan on pitting till lap 38 to 40. That seems to be the fuel run, but riding around, marking their time, that seems to be their strategy. They want to make sure they're there to the end.
Yeah, so far that's what it's been looking like on track. Everyone has been keeping their mind and manners, which is good for us because we definitely want to be able to showcase all the craziness here over on the other channel once we're able to get going. But yeah, absolutely. That's good reporting there, Alex. Again, right now it's been kind of stable here. I know we can't showcase the lap counter. We're just a little over 10 laps in. Once we're able to get going over on the normal Elite channel, we will switch that over and be able to see a little bit of maneuvering around as Ethan Burrell in that number 37 driving a Chevy this year. Jumped up to that high side in front of Racima's and is trying to see if they can rock their way up. Oh, here's some talent. Made a little contact with the outside wall there. Scraped it up just a bit.
That'll get things started, but for now, Ethan Burrell, the first real challenger to Tyler Fode in this race. The Elite stream showing lap 10 of 200.
Got a couple drivers dropping to the back there. 25 dropping back. Not liking what he's seeing with a couple drivers going up and tapping the wall there, but still really beautiful scenes here from Daytona. I was there this weekend, David, and for the 24 hours, and it's such an iconic track, such a beautiful atmosphere, and it's a massive track. It doesn't seem like it because of how fast they're going, but it is an absolutely massive facility, that Daytona 500, and probably one of the most beautiful racing atmospheres in the world.
Yeah, you know, I've made my trip to Daytona a couple of years back, and you know, it's an experience, right? It feels very much like you know, somewhere that is hollowed ground effectively, and you can kind of understand the history that's gone on, you know, between these walls. And you know, as we, you know, watch this pack, you know, formed up and, you know, dicing, slicing, you know, we're just keeping our eye on these guys, seeing if they're gonna get out of line a little bit. For now, single file, first 10, looking pretty strong so far. I've really got no complaints. We're just trying to get everything ironed out on our end, because every time Gerald talks, I'm hearing two of them.
Yeah, I'm glad I learned as much as I did doing the podcast that we show every Thursday. It allowed us to be able to jump on here last minute and try to figure things out with at least being able to broadcast this part of it. So my experience from doing the podcast of the Elite Series is showcased itself being on here early on in this season. But we do want to be able to make sure it looks pretty for everyone and really showcase these drivers to their full extent. So once we're able to, we will. But again, yeah, as far as racing's going, it's been pretty good. I have to feel when we get closer to that stage in there, David, it's gonna ramp up, and it's gonna cause for a little bit more tighter racing there.
Yeah, all this shaking and shuffling in between streams has really knocked us out of our rhythm. We haven't gotten an opportunity to open up the discussion around those stages, right? 65 laps per stage, then, you know, a 70 lap run to the end to pay for the points. You know, these guys, we didn't even get to go through the starting lineup really, but, you know, Tyler Fode started on pole. Dual winners were Harrison Talon and David Tucker. They are running, you know, in the top 5 both still. Biggest mover early on is Vincent Isabella, up from 32nd starting spot up to 12th. Also moving, you know, big movers so far, guys, you might want to keep your eye on as we, you know, look through this pack. Andrew Rucker in that 64 car, he's up to 15th from 35th starting spot. Trey Eidson, Nick and Delicato, those guys are moving forward, and Delicato's the one making 3 wide moves in the back, which is hardly surprising if you tuned in with us during those dual races last week, because he was 3 wide the entire time out there.
Yeah, these drivers are gonna be full throttle at the front and further back, saving fuel and figuring themselves out, and that'll just be the game. With a 500-mile race, there's a lot of time to try to figure out your strategy, figure out what's going to work best for you, and most importantly, what works best for your team. And that's where we're kind of seeing. We'll start seeing those team drivers start to try to gather around each other and try to come up with a game plan for all of them to work with. We still see some of them zigzagging back there trying to find a lane that they fit better with.
Right, and some guys are trying to go to the back intentionally and, you know, pull the Dale Jarrett strategy of, you know, waiting out those wrecks, trying to keep that car clean. We are seeing guys like Kyle Hanshaw back there. Justin Fuller's fallen from 12th starting spot all the way back to 40th. You know, got Frank Fode lining up back there. You know, we talked about, you know, Frank in the dual race, right? He got a ride. Tate Lytle ended up dropping. And Frank Fode's the one who benefits from that. He, Robert Hill, and Justin Wadsworth hanging way off the back of the pack, hoping for an early caution here.
Hey guys, I just got done talking to Fueled Up Racing. They're just keeping it steady, you know. They don't want to cause the wreck. So they're minding their business. Again, that fuel window that we talked about, lap 38 to 40, going to come into play, but I think everyone's hanging on until then.
Appreciate it, Alex. That's helpful, and you know, those fueled up guys. That's John Cutlett, Casey Hatch, Garrison Hogan, Josh Personette, Justin Vandermarl, and Trey Holmes for any new elite drivers that are running here. And none of those guys are up front right now. Those guys are kind of mid-pack, and like Alex said, just riding for now. Here's a 3-wide move.
There we go. Our first little 3-wide move we're seeing there.
Hosak bounced it off the fence.
Yeah. Oh, he got pushed in the wall there. Yeah. It looks like the 92. Yeah, the 92 of Ethan Stanley. I think did not help Michael Hosak there. Kind of bumped him up there a little higher than he was hoping to be.
My assumption would be that Hosak not real thrilled with Vincent Isabella and Ethan Stanley making that 3-wide move. But, you know, it's go time in this Daytona 500, right? You got to get started moving your way to the front. You know, we talked to Tyler Fode after winning the pole and stuff. He tends to be one of those guys who really likes to stay up front. He says that's where you got to, you know, stay out of the wrecks, is you got to be up front. And, well, you know, Tyler Fode's won 2 of these Daytona 500s. He knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely. You know, this kind of feels like a little bit to me, David, kind of like when NASCAR would be like, oh, we're going to go over to Speed Network, and you go over to Speed Network and then wait for the broadcast to go back over to Fox or something like that. So, yeah, this kind of same situation here tonight, folks. We're on the Speed Network, if you could say. Eventually, we'll be back over on the side that maybe has a little bit more money value in it. But right now, at least we're able to see some cars on track, and sometimes that's all you need.
I think our stream is looking pretty good. You know, I'm keeping an eye on it. I believe Dave's broadcasting our voices as well. You know, and we should have enough right now to be able to, I think, switch back over. But, you know, we do apologize for those early delays, right? Nobody's fault in my eyes, just you know, typical hardware problems, right? You know, as anybody who owns a PC has ever run into a random update, you knows. I mean, it can go away just like that from working to not working.
They can donate money and get me a backup computer. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, as far as you know, that's one bad thing with virtual, but the good thing is we've never had a rain delay to have to reschedule for some of these events. So, I mean, that's the good thing there. So, you take the good with the bad, essentially. Is we got some moving up at the front here. I think 2 drivers. Again, it's hard for me to move things around on here.
I got you. Tyler Fode, Josh Robin jumped to the top of the racetrack in front of Harrison Talon and R.C. Anderson, who were the top runners in that outside lane. Outside lane had been falling back. We saw a couple of guys bail on it, and now Fode has gone up to the top when Anderson went up to the top, and that has strengthened that outside lane and pulled Tyler Fode back to the race lead here in the Daytona 500. Only a couple of lead changes so far, not quite the crazy start we were necessarily expecting based on our dual races, but certainly a clean start. We have run 20 straight green flag laps, and as Alex kind of noted for us there, coming up on green flag pit stops here. We're about halfway through our first green flag run of the evening.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it can go for these drivers whenever things go right and people are steady and cautious and making sure to mind their manners. Ooh, you see the 10 there. I think that's Nick and Delicato jump right down in front of Dustin Dewar. That was close there. That could have ended badly. Again, these cars, they can take a pretty good smack from each other, but it doesn't take too much more after that before they cause an incident, and that's not what anybody wants to start off their season.
Yeah, that's one of those things where we experience that in the dual races, right? I mean, these guys could get turned very easily with bumping in the center of the corners, but in order to get that car fully spun out to cause that caution, that would send it to be a little bit more difficult. As R.C. Anderson, with a push from Harrison Talon, is going to take the race lead for the first time. That's, you know, IndyCar driver, Indy 500 attemptee. I don't know if has he made the Indy 500? I think he might have been a participant
he made
at
it.
one point. Yeah,
he made it last season. He was able to qualify in. Not even the last driver to qualify in. Did a really good job there last season to be able to make it in for that Indy 500 and get some more hype towards the Elite Series here, as well as RC is I would say a pretty avid racer for us, and he's pretty reliant as far as being able to make some of these races.
Yeah, RC he's real fast too, but not here at Daytona, not necessarily, you know, that speed being an advantage for RC. He cannot pull away from everybody else and run well over a green flag run. He's going to have to rely on others, and you're seeing Harrison Talon up top, the dual #1 winner last week, taking the lead for, I believe, the first time in this race, being pushed by David Tooker, the other dual winner.
Yeah, the other dual winner. Both of those drivers did a really good job winning their I guess you'd say that they're the points leader too, winning their duels and getting some points wrapped up for them as well. 10 points awarded to the duel winners. So both of those drivers that won are now our points leader going into this race. But points are going to be shuffled around quite a bit, and you wonder why we're talking about points already so early. We don't have a 36 race playoffs. We only have 20, what is it, 19, 18 races for the regular season there, David?
I believe it's going to be 18.
18,
races,
yeah.
So a half schedule, effectively.
Yeah, it goes by quickly, to say the least. So these drivers know that a track like this, where technically you would say there's 3 stages, they want to try to start off good and get points going their way, and maybe change their luck from maybe how things went last season and coming into this season and get things pointed in the right direction and start off maybe some strong relationships early on here in the season.
Yeah, you're seeing that teamwork already, right? You know, those Lake Norman cars between the 40 and the 8, they're working together, getting up front. You're seeing, good relationships with R.C. Anderson, Harrison Talon, and David Tooker, John Cutlip. All those guys have been working together from that Pro Edge fueled up stable. So hopefully, that teamwork maybe dissipates a little bit. We see some guys making some new friends, new relationships, because by the end of the race, you might not have any teammates, and you'll have to make some new friends.
Yeah, that's the case here, and you hope that you've been nice to each other. Now, some others maybe want to showcase that they're strong and run up front and be able to lead a pack and be reliable and play those favoritisms there. And there's a lot of mind games going out there. There's a lot of things that go through in a 200 lap race as far as how you handle things. Right now, these drivers, their main thing on their mind is they're trying to coordinate with their team as to when's the best time to come down for fuel. When's the best time to go about setting up that pit stop to where maybe you get the advantage. The last thing you want to have happen, of course, is to mess up this upcoming pit stop and lose out a chance on being able to stay up with the draft, because very quickly your race will go to naught if you end up out of this main draft.
We saw that with Michael Hossack. He's currently running last after smacking the wall there and now losing the first draft. He has caught up with the second draft, which is about 16 seconds behind this lead pack of 39 race cars currently. So that group of 4 definitely hoping for a yellow flag, but for now, they're going to have to wait and be patient and see if they can't make their way back up to the front once that caution does fly. I'm sure we'll have one here. These guys are certainly bound to get pretty racy, especially as we get closer to pit stops.
I just got off the phone, I guess you could say, with Fueled Up Racing, and they are expecting a caution, but if it does not materialize, they said they can expect to be in about 19 laps.
Oh, very good, very good. Thank you for that. That gives us a little bit of a heads up to how these drivers are thinking out there, Alex, and again, that kind of plays into how aggressive they're going to be. If they know a pit stop is upcoming, they may end up not wanting to risk running up on that high lane and drop down. But with that long of a time period, there's still some good racing up ahead here before they have to try to go down and think about pit stops.
And here's some of that. It's not teamwork right now that Ethan Burrell is working. He jumped out of lane with his teammate Jeff Green, jumped to the top, and he's moving towards the front in that 37 car. He's not thinking about pit stops. He's thinking about going and trying to take the lead of this race from R.C. Anderson.
Now, there are points awarded for drivers that win or lead the most laps, so drivers are going to be looking at that as a way, and as well as it's just really cool to be the leader at the Daytona 500. To be able to say you're leading the event and also get Ethan Burrell got loose, went down the racetrack. He's going to try to figure out a way to get back up without causing an incident. He's just going to stay down there. Yeah, that
impressive save. See if Dave can get us a replay on the elite end. Gerald, I just leave it here for you on the StreamYard side. See if we can't figure out what happened there to Ethan Burrell. I'm worried about the quality of the stream, and it looks like it was maybe a bad push from Harrison Talon that got Ethan a little bit squirrely there.
Yeah, it could have ended a lot worse there for Ethan Burrell, able to get back up in line there now, and save his race, essentially. That is not how you would want to end it, is that early on and be the first one out.
Exactly, and Ethan Burrell looks like he is going to make it back into the pack. He's sitting back on the bottom, about 12th, maybe 15th across the line that time. So first to 15th. The loss of spots for Ethan Burrell that time through, but at least that car is all in one piece, and he will still have a fighting opportunity to go win this Daytona 500 later on. He just knows, again, he's another one of these drivers that's learned corner exit, not the place to push, as I believe there's another battle for the race lead going up at the front of the field.
And it's still really good. Just got to give an attaboy to Harrison Talon. I mean, that guy has heard a lot of crud lately from a lot of people, and to be able to have the tenacity to come out there and do what he's doing, which is winning his respected duel and coming out here early on and being a front runner, showcasing that he has what it takes, is quite incredible of a comeback for Harrison Talon, and kind of just makes you want to root for the guy.
He's doing a good job, and you've got him and Josh Robbins, another guy who's in and out a little bit of this Elite Series, where you forget how good that guy is. He's running the top 5 this whole race, and then Josh Clark. He's been around forever, right? He was here before I was. He's one of the teammates of Matthew Weeks and those Pro Edge guys. David Tucker there as well, and Josh Clark's up into the top 10 right now. He's doing a great job in that number 28 car.
Guys, I just got off the horn with Ethan Burrell, and let me tell you, he might need a change of underwear after that one. He's glad to still be in the race, though, and he still has a car to compete, but his work just got a little bit tougher.
A little bit tougher, indeed. As far as he's a little bit farther back, he looks to be somewhere around in the back about almost to 20th almost.
Yeah, he's back to 19th now. I think that some people have seen that car on the apron and have decided not to draft with it.
Yeah, so he's going to have to work his way back up there, and a little trust that he can be able to take that bumps and be able to keep on going. But still going green here, as these drivers are starting to see that sun start to set down, starting to see the shadows start to form on the cars more. And I can tell you, for some of these guys with good graphics, that light and that sun will absolutely blind you here at Florida. It's a very bright thing to have to deal with, and it can obscure the vision a little bit when they come out of turn number 4, having to see that sun.
Bodie's on the apron.
Oh, he saved it.
Same
through
thing
the
as Ethan
grass.
Burrell. RC blinked.
RC
RC's got an issue with the blinking.
I think he's going to lose the draft.
So what happened there was Ethan Stanley gave the same shot to Harrison Talon that Harrison gave to Ethan Burrell a little bit ago, and then Harrison shot down the racetrack, ran into Kyler Fode, the pole sitter. Fode had to take evasive action to dodge. I don't know what happened to RC Anderson. Oh, Stanley got spun.
Stanley spun around. I don't know if he hit the wall.
He did not. He was able to save it. Vincent tried to cut to the bottom of the racetrack, and Stanley was trying to throw a block there, and they hooked.
How much closer until the end of the stage? Because these guys are getting vicious up front here right now with the pushes.
They're not even halfway to the stage.
Oh my gosh! Calm down, guys. That's in a period of 4 or 5 laps. Three leaders have been spun out at the lead of this thing. I don't know if I want to be at the front now.
Ethan tried to throw a very late block on Vincent there down the back straightaway. That was Vincent tucked to the bottom of the racetrack. He beat Ethan to the spot, and Ethan kept coming down on his nose. And, I think at the end of the day, they'll call no harm, no foul on that one, but just a tough break. Tyler Fode's back at 20th. He's basically wound up right where Ethan Burrell is. They have essentially done the exact same thing there. And all that, Chris Wright got the lead. Now Trey Holmes is going for the race lead, and Trey Eidson got shuffled out of the race lead after leading the lap.
crazy racing up front here. And out of nowhere, really, I didn't really suspect it, this type of racing at this point in time of the race. But all of a sudden, it's like a switch has been flicked, and these guys are all over the place right now.
You're getting close to pit stops, too, per Alex's reports of 38 to 40, right? We're working lap 37 right now. So pit stops should be coming soon. I think Tyler Fode, Ethan Burrell, probably Ethan Stanley will be thankful that those are on their way. RC Anderson also has fallen all the way back to 38. He was leading this race for a long portion of it. So, yeah, just a very crazy start to this one. Trey Holmes now your race leader. Jonathan Cutlet running second. Neither of those guys have we talked about just yet. Now they're running real high up on the racetrack. On board with Casey Hatch on the StreamYard side. Looking up at Justin Vandermarl. So all these fueled up cars working their way towards the front, and they're kind of behind two of the Mountain Man Motorsports Chevys in Chris Wright and Vincent Isabella. Also up into the top 5, Garrison Hogan in the 36, a former winner of the 500.
Yeah, he's saying that a little bit spaced out here. Top 10 drivers are still side by side, but after that, singles out for quite a bit there. I think drivers are maybe taking a little bit of a breath here, David.
I think they absolutely are. You see what happens when that occurs is there's a little bit of checkup in those single file lines. You see Michael Goodman trying to take advantage back there in the 44 car. Another guy that we haven't talked about tonight, and same for that car right in front of him, the blue and white car. That is Seth Rawls in the 25. So a couple of those guys do good Chevys in the Shifty Sports Ford. Those guys are they're thinking maybe they don't have to pit just yet.
So where will the run come next? Are they still going to try to get that high lane? We saw it in the duels. People didn't really want to run that middle until it came down to paycheck time, and they kind of waited until they were forced to have to go down that middle. But is it still going to be a high lane and bottom lane kind of race here? Looks like everyone's dropping down now in front of each other on that bottom lane. I think the top lane has given up a little bit of the ghost.
I think it's time for pit stops is what it is. And yeah, I think we'll be a two-lane race for most of this event. I don't know that 3 wide is really going to work. But we've seen Chris Wright, Vincent Isabella work their way to the front here to start pit stops. And in theory, there should be some guys pitting this time by.
So we'll see here who drops down. If any of them yet, there goes
Yep.
Harrison Talon down.
You can't win the race on pit road right here, but you sure can lose it. Tyler Fode's coming with Harrison Talon. Those are a couple of cars that were leading this race. So they were burning more fuel than all these other guys who were saving it in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, this is important time here, David. This is where these drivers need to make sure they're on their marks. They've hopefully practiced enough going down pit road and realize, as you see Jeff Green rocketing on that high side there on the screen, trying to get past some of these guys. But this is the time that you wanna get this down pat. You do not want any mistakes and losing any time on track.
Yeah, here they come. Here comes a big group of them, and the other option is to be like Jeff Green right here, right? You can go and make up some time on the outside lane while people are kind of slowing down, getting ready to pit. The later you pit, the better, I think, usually at Daytona, but it depends on whether you come in with a big group of cars, and I think this last group that just went down pit road, they had enough of a big group to be able to come out here and wind up that momentum, and I think take the lead once they come off pit road.
So when will the next pack come down? Again,
this time. Further driver chat.
we'll see how many of them come down. It looks like Jeff Green's opting not to. See if he has anyone that stays out on track with him. No.
Hit it really late. Gavel past 2 people entering pit road. They're all going to make it, though.
I do not like that for Jeff Green. He is one of the few guys that stayed out, and he's going to lose a lot of time on track being out there by himself.
Yeah, Jeff Green and Chris Wright definitely messed up here. They needed to pit, I think. You want to have that big group. And now the big question will be, where do they cycle out in relation to guys like Vincent Isabella, Matthew Weeks, Jonathan Cutliff? That was the first group that pitted. They're currently in turn 3, winding up to full song. They're going to get a big pack together and have a ton of speed on the guys that are going to come off pit road right now.
Yeah, you see now everyone's a little bit spaced out, and this is where we got a couple guys coming down pit road now. Jeff Green finally making his decision to come down pit road. Chris Wright, those drivers. But this is where you're going to see drivers lose the draft, is in this period of time. They either didn't time pit road correctly, or maybe they didn't pick the time to go down with their teammates or exit out just properly, and this is a point in time where we'll see who's able to nail it.
Yeah, let's keep our cameras on Vincent Isabella and Matthew Weeks right here. This is the group I think that will be taking the lead, and you're seeing guys winding it up, trying to block up the track so Vincent at full song can't get through, and I think they're going to successfully do it.
Yeah, they've caught back to this group here. Vincent Isabella drops down there to run with a couple of them, but this is going to be the lead group here now, as you see Nick and Delicato dropping down to try to see if he can lead that bottom lane now.
Yep, and Matthew Weeks, Jonathan Cutliff, David Tooker, the drivers who I think get the biggest advantage, and there they are. Chris Wright, Jeff Green fall into the back, and looks like Vincent Isabella popped off. He went to go with those 2 teammates there, at least Chris Wright's his teammate, and dropped in the back here. They are getting racy. Not
bad. I honestly thought Jeff Green and Chris Wright were going to lose more time than that, and that's surprisingly not bad of a way to do it for them. I mean, they avoided any carnage that could have been caused on pit road by pitting just with the 2 of them, and they come out, and it looks like they're going to be able to stay on the lead draft here.
Second draft is led by 2 guys who had to pit first, Harrison Talon and Tyler Fody, and they are about 2 seconds behind this big pack. But if there's some checkups on this big pack, that group running single file ought to be able to catch back up. So you Tyler Fody fans, no worries. I think he'll be just fine. In that pack is also Ethan Burrell, among others, except Rawls and Brent Jones.
Well, we do want to thank our sponsors, Belly Up Sports, the Internet Sports Bar, sports commentary via podcasts, forums, articles, on top range to nearly everything sports. Not your usual sports site. Check them out on Twitter, or otherwise known as X, or at bellyupsports.com. And again, we appreciate them letting us be able to do the stream on their YouTube channel here. So anyone going back and rewatching the beginning of this, or watching live with us now, we do appreciate Belly Up Sports very much right now, more than normally with a sponsor, as they allow us to be able to join here. And of course, Homeplace Beer, our 10th running of the Daytona 500, and Homeplace Beer has been a wonderful sponsor for Elite and for the Daytona 500 for Elite. Homeplace Brewers is a farm to pint beers using lots of local ingredients from Yancey County, North Carolina. At Homeplace, you'll find plenty of lagers, table beers, Happy American, and multi-English beers with some mix-in culture fermentations. And then also Blue Egg Marketing, we do appreciate them as well joining us this season. Blue Egg, the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan. We help business punch above their weight class. And of course, Worldwide Technology Raceway. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsports racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. It features a 1.25-mile NASCAR Series Cup track, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, as well as Open Wheels Series. It also has 2,000 mile in-course road infield road course used by Trans Am, SCCA, Porsche Clubs of America, quarter mile NHRA drag strip, pretty much anything with racing and wheels. Pretty sure they've had some lawnmowers racing in there at one point in time. A lot of racing going on with Worldwide Technology Raceway, and we appreciate them joining us here at Elite. And up front here, it looks like the racing's getting really, really intense again here, David. Give me a rundown what's going on up there.
After that happened, it all changes, right? I mean, Scott Crump and Ryan Gabel went up to the lead. Now they've dropped to the bottom, and now they're back in about 10th. Now John Cutlip got the lead. Here comes Nick Delicato. Chad Frankenfield's up here in the top 5. And they're all coming after Frank Fody, who's about to go a lap down for the first time. Frank, in his very first Daytona 500, did not have the best pit stop, and hopefully he can lock onto this pack and be in position for that lucky dog, as now Chad Frankenfield goes for the lead, looking for some help from Ford technical teammate Nick Delicato, but it seems like that outside line is where you want to be if you want to move forward.
So how are we doing over there on the Dave front there and the elite chat?
We're back
pretty good.
live, and it's been
Stream is looking
staying
good,
okay.
at least from what I can tell. He's been broadcasting our voices the whole time, so we've been, monitoring the StreamYard stream on Belly Up as well as the Elite stream, and right now the Elite stream is looking pretty good. I think we might be able to switch over there full time for the rest of the race, hopefully, and let us know in the chat any issues with the pictures, anything with the schemes, but I think we've ironed everything out, and we're looking pretty good so far.
Absolutely. Well, if you're ready here, folks, we're going to go ahead and it looks like everything's back and ready. Make sure to get a thumbs up from David here that we're ready to switch back over to the broadcasting side of things over on the Elite Racing Network. We all good, Dave?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, he's muted on us right now.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Alrighty, perfect. So great. We are going to end the stream here on the on this side of things with the Belly Up Sports StreamYard here. We're going to go ahead and go back over to the Elite Racing Network. We appreciate you joining us over here. We want you to transfer over there because the racing is just getting intense, and I feel like things are about to ramp up here. So we appreciate you over here on the Belly Up side, and we're going back full time over on the Elite Racing side.
While we're here, I'm fully impressed with the job that Nick Delicato, Vincent Isabella have been able to do on the bottom of the racetrack. And as I say that, Justin Fuller and Scott Crump pop out from behind them and cut their momentum, and Fuller takes the lead into turn 1, but Isabella started at the very, very tail end of this pack after green flag pit stops. He is driven straight to the front of it, and he was fast in the duels too before some mysterious netcode took him out of it. So, Vincent, he's one of those guys who knows these plate tracks in and out, and I think he might be able to have something to say about it here once we finish this thing off. But Justin Fuller, currently the race leader. Scott Crump up to 2nd. Ryan Gabel 3rd. Chad Frankenfield 4th. Jonathan Cutlip 5th. Cars up in this top group that we haven't really talked about yet tonight. I don't think we mentioned Matthew Weeks, former Daytona 500 winner. I also don't think we've mentioned Ryan Schultz, who is in that 4 car. He's up in the top lane, about 5 cars back, and that's a name we haven't mentioned yet. But he's running pretty strong up in this front pack. Had a very good first set of green flag pit stops.
I gotta say, as much as we appreciate Belly Up going over there, that's nothing like putting on like an old pair of clothes that just fit just right. Coming back over here to the Elite Racing Network, everything looks beautiful over here, and we do appreciate Dave Huckleberry doing all the wonderful jobs that you see here, and everything that he's able to bring, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes here, folks, and we do appreciate everything that everyone on the Elite Racing side is able to do to be able to produce these shows here. David and I just do the voicing. We do the easy stuff. We show up last minute and talk about these guys, and although we sound beautiful, I pat myself on the back for that, but we do appreciate Dave doing a good job making sure that the stream looks beautiful on its end as well. So we appreciate you joining us here once again live for the 10th running of the Daytona 500s, but we're going to see if Dave has any sponsor runs that he needs to do right now for us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The NASCAR Cup Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway on June 1st and 2nd, 2024. The time to get your tickets is now. For only $10 down, you can lock in your seats for an incredible weekend of family fun, featuring the Enjoy Illinois 300 and the Confluence Music Festival. Racing, music, camping, it all adds up to one amazing party. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
And we're back here as they come closer and closer to the end of this stage. These drivers are going to be pushing harder and harder here, as here they come to complete lap 56, come to 57 now, as right now Justin Fuller is leading the pack in front of Scott Crump and Ryan Gravel here, as these drivers are trying to figure out how they're going to maneuver themselves up for the closer end of the stage here. Real quickly, we didn't get to do our race picks here. Did you have any race pick here for your? I'll let you go first since you've been doing such a good job, David.
Yeah, he said David, so I thought it was
David.
you.
David.
I'm gonna take
anybody.
I'm gonna take Jonathan Cutler.
That's a good one. What do you
I like
got, David?
Harrison Talon. Oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah,
you've picked it. You've got it. You can have Harrison Talon.
I wasn't gonna take Harrison Talon. I'm gonna go with the experience here. Give me Matthew Weeks.
That's a very good one. A former Daytona 500 winner, champion himself in the outright. So very good pick there. I'm going to go with our marbles winner over on the podcast that we do Thursdays every night. We'll have a little marble race to kind of pick who's going to be the champion or the favorite for the race, and it picked Jeff Green of all people. So I'm gonna follow the marbles prediction that we have on our podcast, and I'm gonna go with Jeff Green coming home with his first Cup Series win here at such a wonderful track. It would be perfect for him to be able to claim it here tonight.
Noting, I want to point out 18 cars in this front pack, and as we inch down to the end of the stage, there is a second pack with pole sitter Tyler Fode leading it, Ethan Burrell running in second in that pack, and Nick Massey, Brent Jones, Seth Rawls, Michael Goodman, and others. Harrison Talon as well. Those guys are all catching this first pack very, very slowly. They're going about a tenth every 2 laps, so hopefully that group, including Fode, can get back caught up to this front pack before we get our next set of green flag pit stops.
What stages are here tonight? I don't know if you have that ready, Chris.
65. We are 5 laps to the stage.
130 and
So it is coming closer and closer.
will we see a yellow flag?
That is a good question there, Alex. I mean, we haven't had a caution as of yet, and we really, really want to knock on some wood there. And it has not been from a lack of trying. We've had a few of our leaders get sideways and almost wreck out, but I have a feeling, based off of those finishes, that we're about to see probably a third lane formed here for the end of this stage, and then there's a good shot of something happening after that.
I think these two guys running right behind Justin Fuller are kind of biding their time, as here comes Matthew Weeks shooting to the top of the racetrack, trying to maybe just jump and leapfrog Vincent Isabella in that 3 car. The one
No, that's going to be bad.
Contact between the 11 there.
A little too much teamwork, I think, from Josh Clark and Matthew Weeks. At some point, though, it is somewhat worth it to go ahead and go around to that guy that's slow up in front of you.
Yeah, that absolutely killed the momentum on that high side as those two drivers are dropping back, trying to take a breath here as more drivers are going to try to see if they can get that high lane rolling here. As you see Vincent Isabella trying to be one of the first ones to try to take that high side lane there, showing his aggression. We've seen his aggression earlier on in this race and trying to prove the point here. But here comes Fuller jumping to the high side, trying to take a block on that number 3 car. As here they come into turns number 1 and 2. Vincent is right on his back bumper.
Be careful with that. And bumping in the corner, bumping on corner exit. That's the stuff we've seen from that top lane that gets you spun out. But Isabella able to control it and keep Fuller moving forward here, and a bold block by Fuller trying to take this win, this stage win. But here comes Vincent Isabella down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll have help from Ryan Scholl.
Yeah, both of those drivers jumped down, barely able to clear themselves. And right now they're both going to be able to push themselves out in front of the lead here. But Fuller's going to have some strong help right now. I believe that's David Tooker right behind him.
Delicato.
Oh, that's Delicato, yeah. Nick and Delicato going to be able to try to push him back up to the front here, but we are getting closer and closer. Only a few more laps left in this stage. That is when points are awarded. 10 points for first and 1 point down to the 10th place driver. So top 10 is where these drivers want to be at. Obviously, the higher they can, the better off they are. Fuller getting a good run down that back straightaway as we speak.
Right behind him, Nick and Delicato. Then it's Dustin Dewar, a name we haven't mentioned so far tonight, but an elite veteran and a guy who's nearly won this race a couple of times. And Dewar usually finds himself up front of these plate tracks. And here he is once again fighting for the lead in this front pack. We'll see if old Dusty can get in there and maybe get him a win. But here comes Jonathan Cutlip to the outside to jump in front of Fuller. Yeah,
that outside lane, it has its ebbs and flows. It comes away and it takes one driver to jump back up there, and all of a sudden they'll flourish back up there. I think it has a lot to do with how hot they get. You see Fuller right on the back bumper. Tooker jumps right in front. That could have ended really sour, as it looks like Tooker barely by maybe not even paper with being able to jump in front of that 5 car, able to now push himself out in front of the lead here. Going to be able to get a Toyota now leading this pack up front here.
Yeah, one more lap in this stage. Vincent Isabella on the bottom, David Tooker up top. Tooker with the help from Cutlip gets that lead, but one more lap. That's not the stage. Next time by, that'll be the stage. We'll see if this inside line can wind up the momentum, or if these guys up top are going to jump in front of that inside line and try to take it for themselves.
This time around, it's going to be points awarded. Here comes Fuller dropping down to the bottom, dropping right in front of the number 3 there, Vincent Isabella. Are they going to have a run? Are they going to have the speed? It's still wobbling and flowing up on the top side as David Tooker is trying to hold on to be able to get there.
Jonathan Cutlip with a massive shot to David Tooker down the back straightaway. And now here comes Isabella, tandem drafting effectively with Justin Fuller. Oh, and Vincent got Fuller sideways. Now you're going for it.
They're still going to the line. Fuller jumps up 4 wide. They're wrecking.
Vincent Isabella wins stage 1. Justin Fuller, I think, finished 6th in the stage. He was completely sideways off of turn 4. He managed to save it. Everybody checked up. Little bit of contact. And really, that's just going to benefit the Tyler Fode, Ethan Burrell group, because they definitely didn't check up. They are going to pick up a ton of time on this pack. But what a wild finish coming down to the stage. We'll take another look at it.
Let's take a look at this. Fuller fully did not care. So Fuller fully did not check up there, nor did he care about anybody else on the track. He jumped back up on the racetrack there. He wanted points no matter who got involved in that. And when he came back up the racetrack, it caused 4 wide and no one lifted. Unfortunately for Dustin Dewar, he got shoved hard into the outside wall. But somehow, some way, these drivers were able to keep it going straight. And you'll see right there, bam! Oh, the smoke coming up. That's going to cause some heartbreak there.
I think they'll probably be all right. These cars are pretty solid with those door slams. Ryan Gavel as well. And I think that was right for the points. I think Dewar 8, it was like Dewar 8 weeks, or Dewar 7th, weeks 8, Frankenfield 9th. I think all those guys got stage points. So, damage worth it. You got some points. Now it's time to get back in, ride a little bit. Try to see how much fuel you've got left in the tank on this one, because pit stops are coming up once again.
Yeah, now that they've gotten the points out of the way, points are a little farther in their mind now, as it will be a little farther down the road before they can go about racing for more stage points. So Now the next agenda is to try to figure out when they're coming down pit road. That kind of broke up the pack a little bit too, and I wonder if that allowed that backpack to start working their way up there. Ethan Burrell and Tyler Fody now about 4 seconds, almost a little less than 5 seconds, 4 seconds back from this main pack. So it looks like maybe that helped them try to work their way back up to this main pack.
We'll see what happens. You know, they've been just fluctuating between 3 and 5 seconds behind. You know, when the pack checks up, they move forward. If the pack falls back, they move back. So, you know, and they're getting two cars deeper here as Rasmus and Dewar are going to be joining it. There's some talent just bounced off the wall back there. Not sure what that deal was, but I think it's not helping that Ethan Burrell's not the best pusher back there. They're trying to keep Burrell lined up behind Cody, but that temperature, I'm sure, is going hot every time they try to warm things up and try to push closer to this pack. And this pack seems to be able to generate a lot of quicker runs because of the way they're running too wide. These guys run single file. It doesn't result in some checkups. It's keeping that group from fully catching, but they're still about 4 seconds back. They're in a very safe zone. And right now, Ryan Schultz has taken the race lead in that 4 car.
Well, that did cause a few drivers from that stage in to drop back there, so it is helping. They picked up about almost a half a second back there from the last lap. This time around, coming to the line, they picked up over half a second. So drivers that were involved, like a Dustin Dewar, maybe a Trey Eitzen, those drivers that had dropped back there, now helping out that backpack to try to work their way back up there. But there's still a lot of races.
Another spinner.
Oh, somebody is spinning. Sorry.
Around in front of Vincent Isabella again.
Schultz drove to the middle lane from the back straightaway, and Vincent was running the regular bottom lane, and came down across him again.
Vincent Isabella pay you tonight?
Look, man, I call it like I sees it, and I'm the first one to tell you what happens. But
That's I don't know. That's a bad kind of lift. Just a little bit. Vincent is showing people, do not do that to me. It's not going to work out, because he has proven it 3 times so far in this race. You will spin out if you try to get in front of me and make a block. It will not end well for you, as there's still a little bit of smoke on that back straightaway from that spin out.
I know a guy that used to drive a 3 car that was just like that.
took the spirit in. Yeah, Alex, what you hearing down on pit road?
Well, mainly they think that they'll be back on pit road a lap 80. That's what I'm hearing.
Lap 80, so then about almost 10 laps from now, we should have some more drivers coming down pit road to get some more fuel. So that'd be an interesting setup here, because right now in this main pack, we only have 14 drivers. But that backpack, look at how fast they are coming. They are going about 0.7 of a second faster a lap, and now they're within of getting the draft. That will increase it from 14 to 26.
They're catching them. Bodie, Burrell, Rawls, Brent Jones, Rasmus, Goodman, Dewar, Eitzen, Massey, Hatch, Harrison Talon. That's the group, but they're definitely catching them. They're running several mile an hour faster right now. They're gonna get the draft here. I think this time by, this front pack has had some issues. They've lost a few cars. We're gonna wreck.
Oh, Jeff Green, no!
Caution is out.
Oh, Jeff Green's destroyed.
Oh, Tyler Fody hit him. Frank Fody finally gets the caution he was looking for, but he might not get the lucky dog because he was right in the middle of this.
The 8 comes down and tries to make a block on
Robin.
Josh Robin come right back up.
Oh my! We need an onboard with Chad Frankenfield there, and then I think these two are stuck in the middle of the racetrack. Go for Tyler Fody here, Dave, because Fody's going to be the one to hit this group.
Guys, I was just talking to Tyler Fody. He said this is exactly what he did not want to be. You don't want to be in this type of situation, and you have to feel for Jeff Green.
For sure.
He was an innocent victim right there.
Dave, can you? Yeah, perfect. I wanted to see, what was it, just a bump draft gone wrong with Tucker And the 8 and C,
10 car's up way up the racetrack here.
yeah, I mean, he's right up on the door. But that doesn't really affect it as much as, yeah, man, just a bump draft gone wrong. I would have to put it on that.
Oh man,
And then let's go back to see Fody.
Hit
Let's
Jeff
go
Green
back and see
so
Fody.
hard.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's not good for the 40 car, man. That's our pole sitter. That's a 2-time champion of this race and the defending champion of the series. And he dropped to the apron, right? He dropped to the apron, slammed on the brakes. There's just nowhere to go.
And he was coming with a head of steam. He could see it all in front of him, but he really couldn't do much about it.
He drops to the apron, and once you get on the apron, all of a sudden, here come the cars down onto the apron in front of you.
Yeah, that's. I don't think it popped his engine. He might be okay. These things are a tank. Now, Jeff Green's. A tank is great and all, but if it don't have wheels on it, it's just a lawn ornament.
Yeah, tough break for Jeff Green. Completely an innocent bystander, and this is two of the Lake Norman cars right here. And for Fody, we'll have to see whether he can, continue at speed. For one Lake Norman car dropping out, another gets back in the lead lap in Frank Fody, and then Jeff Green obviously will probably be out of the race for this one. Wondering if Josh Robinson will also
it's making me question what my marbles predicted.
Who finished last in the marbles race? We're gonna have to go look it up.
Maybe the marbles predict. Maybe you don't want to win the marbles race. We're gonna put it as that. Maybe the marbles race is something for the podcast that you watch and really hope that your name doesn't come up, because it looks like Jeff Green's gonna be the first driver out of tonight's event.
Guys, I was able to talk to Tyler Fody. He said he doesn't have that much damage. They're working on it right now in the pits, and he should be able to go off about 20 seconds of damage.
20 seconds? That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone wants to listen to Jeff and I, Jeff is going to be my co-host for the podcast tomorrow on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page. So if you want to tune in at 8 o'clock Eastern, and Jeff and I are going to be going through the Daytona 500 here, watching back the cautions and the finishes and everything going on. So if you want to hear from Jeff Green, the NASCAR driver himself, as far as just probably how mad he is, you're not going to want to miss that, and tune in and kind of see what's going on with everything replayed back from here. But caution's going on right now. Do we have any other news going on?
No news. Just our stage 1 winner being Vincent Isabella. Other than that, tonight it's been a bit of a chaotic race. We've had several incidents involving Michael Hosack, involving Ethan Stanley. Justin Fuller was sideways at one point. Ethan Burrell was sideways at one point, and then obviously, Jeff Green and Josh Robin, Tyler Fody taken damaged in this first caution. 75 laps green. That's pretty good.
That's good for us, because that means we'll be able to get this done while it's still being a Wednesday. So we appreciate that from these drivers. We'll see if that continues here. Again, I don't know how much of it was just around the 8 car just turned around. And I noticed that watching back, David, when me and Goody looked back at the last clash, as well as the dual races there. These cars are hard to spin out. It doesn't spin out as easy as maybe years past. It actually takes a little bit of effort to spin these things out, and maybe that's contributing to these drivers being able to play aggressive and still be able to continue going straight.
I think it does. Right? I think these things are very tanky and they're very heavy with that diffuser in the back. So with that, you're able to kind of keep that rear under control a little bit better. It takes a good spin or really that car getting light on corner exit to actually spin you out. I mean, if you get knocked sideways coming off the corner like we saw with Burrell, like we saw with Fuller, you can kind of save it, drive it back up, and keep going. So. With Chris Wright leading here, we'll see if there's any more of that, or if maybe they tone it down a little bit until lap 130 when stage 2 finishes up.
New number for Chris Wright, driving the number 9 car this season for Mountain Man. Is going to see how he does so far here for this restart. Gets a really good shove here by Tooker, able to get that bottom lane going. So we'll see how these drivers are able to get going here, because it is not too much longer before. Actually, no.
No, we got a ways.
Yeah, we got a ways. I was going back to 85. That was with a projected time frame of when they were going to have to pit. I do think they can make it on fuel to the next stage. Is that what it's looking like?
Calculations. 130 minus 42 puts you at 88.
No, so
No,
they're
90.
going to have to.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to
at
pit
least one
again.
more time.
Yeah. So if it were me, right, I'm saving fuel. I'm gonna try to lounge back a little bit here, and then we'll see what happens. Because we've seen a number of incidents and near incidents up at the front of this field. The way it shuffles very quickly, it can be dangerous to run up here. And I think we've got a number of guys kind of lagging back, waiting on this front pack. I don't think we're going to see as much patience of falling way off the pack, but what I think we will see is some guys, backing it up a little bit, waiting for this front pack to crash, because they've been flirting with it a lot.
You said dangerous up there. It's been dangerous as the leader.
Yeah.
We have seen the leader have more issues in just this short amount of time than I've ever seen at a super speedway. We're not really seeing a lot of issues in the back of the pack. We're not seeing a lot of issues in the middle of the pack. It all occurs from the front of the pack as the leader, either coming down and coming into each other, or a bump draft gone wrong. Everyone in the back is just a victim of circumstances.
It is. We're seeing these guys really, be aggressive with trying to keep the race lead, throwing some blocks, making big moves from second and third and on the top and bottom of the racetrack. That's where you're seeing these incidents take place. It's all about trying to keep that track position, because if you end up, fourth, fifth on the bottom of the racetrack, you might not get that opportunity to move back up, because when that outside lane does surge, you might go all the way to the back. And so these guys are being really aggressive, trying to protect that track position that they do have, and in so doing are either costing someone else a lot of track position or losing it themselves.
Well, Alex, if you can, see if you can go down and talk to Vincent Isabella and see how much of a front nose he still has left on that car. If,
here comes. Okay, we got 3 wide.
3 wide up at the front here, so you might want to talk to him before something bad goes on here.
All right.
Justin Fuller dives to the middle on Ryan Gavel, and that was enough for Brent Jones. Brent said, "Nope, I'm out."
Yeah,
back
he
a couple
left.
of spots.
Still 3 wide
Oh,
back
they
there.
make-
Oh, here's the Talon, and I think that's Robin there made a little contact with each other as well, going 3 wide.
8 car must be all right. I think Jeff Green's going to be the only car out of this race after that first incident. Robin is right back up here.
Yeah,
as well.
surprising. With how hard of a hit he did with Jeff Green, I mean, it knocked the front end off of Jeff Green. And here's Robin running the middle lane. It's swerving a little bit, so maybe he needs an alignment
Wheel
done.
damage, wheel damage. But no, I think Josh Robbins' car's okay. He's certainly being aggressive, right, driving it through the middle. There's damage on it, but it's good enough for now. Ryan Gavel, real loose there in the middle of turn 3. This group right here, that's the group that might wreck. That 3 wide group.
Yeah, they are not comfortable out there right now. It is not aerodynamically happy as Matthew Wakes chops down in front of the 8 car there. I don't know if I want to be anywhere a part of this, with how much they're zigzagging. It is very scary to see how these drivers are handling these vehicles right now.
Look at the big gap on the bottom too.
Go ahead, Alex.
I
go,
just got done talking with Vincent Isabella. You would think these guys are out on a Sunday drive. They are so calm and collected. None of these moves they're making are really affecting them. I talked to the 3 car. He said his front end is just fine. There might be a little bit of paint transfer, but him and Wright are one and two, and they're working their way trying to earn both the stage win and this Daytona 500.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works out for Chris Wright more than anybody, because right now all I can imagine is, oh yeah, we got three drivers jumping up to the high side lane, leaving Chris Wright and Vincent Isabella on that bottom lane all by themselves. And for the first time, we're seeing Clark here trying to see if he can be able to get his vehicle up front here. So Joshua Clark now trying to get with his teammates here and be able to draft up and lead this thing at the start line. It does look like he is able to.
Yep, lap led Joshua Clark, pushed by Matthew Weeks' direct teammate. Josh Robin is back up into the top 5. It did not take him long to resurrect that 8 car. I did think it was, when they were going 3 wide, I thought it was funny. Ethan Burrell and Brent Jones and a couple of those guys in the bottom backed off and gave a huge gap to the guys running 3 wide, and it allowed them to shuffle into the pack, and that's why you're seeing Ryan Gavel currently up in 6th and Josh Robin up there.
Yeah, so Robin very quickly making his work back up there, and that's going to take notice to drivers. They're going to see and know that these things can take a pretty good hit, at least in certain areas. They also see Jeff Green out of the race, but I kind of wonder how Cody's doing. He said he didn't have any damage. I'm not seeing where he's running at. Oh, back in 18th. Yeah, 18th position. So, these things are tanks still. I mean, we were wondering with the new damage model how these things would react with damage, and so far it's kind of, if as long as you don't knock the wheels off of it, they continue to push and go.
Cody's car's pretty clearly hurt. It's not quite as sucked up to the back bumper of the guys in front of him. Cutlip just bounced it off the fence.
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right. Don't think that's gonna be any damage. But now he is 3 wide with Indelicato and Wadsworth. First time we've mentioned Justin Wadsworth's name. He's up here into the top 15 for the first time tonight. That's that blue and white Ford right there, number 6.
Yeah, we didn't get to see everyone's paint scheme, obviously, at the beginning of the race. We didn't get to do a run through, but there's a couple drivers of note back there. Justin Wadsworth, obviously, in the 6, doing a really good job there. A couple other drivers up there that are doing a really good job. I mean, we got Andrew Rucker all the way from the 35th spot up in right there outside the top 10.
He's frightening me. He's weaving it down the back straightaway.
That frightening and Andrew Rucker go hand in hand. That's pretty normal if you ask any of the other drivers out there on track. Some other drivers of note that are doing a really good job out there. Looks like
how about our outside pole sitter Jesse Rasmus? He's been to the back and the front. Didn't get to give him his due, I don't think. Also, Garrison Hogan, he's been back and forth into the front of the field and back. 36 car running P4 right now. Scott Crump's running up here in the top 10 as well. And hey, how about this guy RC Anderson, right? We saw him leading this race early, and he had what it looked like a blinking issue right at the same time Tyler Fode got hit the first time in this race, and he fell to the back. He has now clawed his way back up into the top 15, and I think we still have something for that 50 car before this night's over with.
Absolutely. He's got some teammates behind him, and you know how important teammates are at these super speedways, so RC Anderson definitely going to have some backing here if it needs to be at that time. But right now, looks like the bottom lane's still going very well, and right now they're orderly, and drivers are maybe taking a break from the 3 wide action and realizing that maybe just get a little bit more laps down here.
Speaking of teammates, right? That's 1-2 right now. A couple of Mountain Man Motorsports cars in that number 9 and number 3. And Rick Wright and Isabella, they have been up front very securely all night long. The two of them have definitely led a number of laps in this race, and Wright will be using a little more fuel than everybody else is right now, so we'll have to see if that comes into play later. He did, go a lap later than everybody else, along with Jeff Green, on the first cycle of green flag pit stops. So maybe Chris Wright hoping to be one of the first cars to come in rather than the last car.
Andrew Rucker getting a shove right now, coming back up to the front here. He's already up to side by side with Isabella, getting a really good strong push from Gavel there. He jumped up there a couple laps ago, and now here they are rocketing up to the lead of this. Andrew Rucker, a former Daytona 500 champion, and now being forgotten there. Oh,
Crumping right.
See, if Vincent Isabella was there, I think Scott would have gone around.
Yeah, Chris Wright does let Scott Crump go in. I think Crump was clear, and they weren't sure, and therefore I wasn't sure. But it was very close. Now Lake Norman Motorsports teammates going to 1-2 with the Mountain Man Chevys right behind them 3 and 4.
Yeah, that killed that momentum of the outside lane. Andrew Rucker, last time around, battling for the lead, now finds himself battling out near the end of the top 10. So very quickly running back there. But here comes another driver to that outside lane, trying to get a resurgence going there. That's our outside pole sitter there of the 70. Again, one of your favorite paint schemes up there in that monster paint scheme. Getting a good run, trying to see if he can get back up there. I love the rims more than anything. Those bright green rims are very noticeable out there.
Yeah, I think Vincent's Golden Black 3 and the number 6, Viagra 2001 throwback for Ethan Stanley. I think those are my 3 favorite paint schemes of the night. But I know we haven't shown them all, right? There's a number of guys sitting in the back of this field that are, driving some schemes that look pretty good that we just have not shown, because that back of the field, they're keeping it calm. They're trying to stay out of any big messes, and so far tonight we haven't had that big mess yet. This has felt like one of those old style Daytona 500s where we're kind of drumming up that drama. We're having to see whether these guys can play nice for 200 full laps, or when is the lid gonna fly off of this thing.
Yeah, it could come at any time here at Daytona. Whoa! Jumping to the outside there, that was
Hogan.
Garrison Hogan jumping up to the outside. Another former Daytona 500.
Here comes Wright.
Oh, yeah, they're jumping up there. They're getting going. I'm surprised he left his teammate there, Vincent Isabella, but Chris Wright now jumping out to that outside lane. Like I was saying, we keep saying a lot of former Daytona 500 champions, and that's because they're all trying to get up to the front. So maybe that's a sign as to how you go about winning one of these things. If almost all the top 10 end up being former 500 champions, kind of gives you an idea of how strong the competition is going to be for trying to get this thing at the end of the event.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, right? This is a lineup full of all-stars, as Frank Fode is going to go a lap down once again. He did not get a good restart and ended up falling off the draft, but it's any finish here is a good one, right? I mean, the way they've run tonight, this is one of the more impressive just sets of runs that I've seen so far, right, from this group. They've only had one caution. We're nearing halfway in the race. This is really impressive. There's been some incidents, but everybody's giving and taking to the ability of each other, and they're taking care of each other just enough out there to prevent any big accidents. As Rasmus to the bottom, now Hogan to the bottom, and the Toyotas will go around the Chevy Chris Wright as they all bypass the lapped car of Justin Fortner, I believe.
Yeah, that's their first lap down car from a while. I know Frank Fode is one lap down. He's been a lap down. And good on Frank Fode for making the shot. I know everybody was rooting for him. He got beat out by Nick Massey, and Nick Massey felt bad because nobody was rooting for him at the end of his duel. They were all rooting for Fode. We had a late exit from the 500 that allowed Fode to make his way in, and happy to see Frank Fode getting his shot at a first-time Daytona race here with us.
The tandem drafting up here up front. Andrew Rucker takes the lead. Wright was sideways down the back straightaway. I'm glad he didn't wreck off the front bumper of Ryan Gavel. It got close, but it looks all right for now. And Hogan pushes Andrew Rucker up to the lead. Jesse Rasmus up to third. Scott Crump's back up to fourth in that 90 car. He just keeps kind of hovering around the front as well. And Scott was telling us this week, one of those stats of his is that he has never scored a top 10 finish in this race, not to mention no win.
That's the type of driver you don't want to be racing around. At least that's how I would approach it if I would have known that. So that's something you don't want to let your competitors know if they want to trust pushing you or not. But yeah, unfortunate for him, he's trying to. Well, fortunately for him, it could all change tonight with a good finish. But Chris Wright is dropping back. Everyone dropped down to the bottom, and Chris Wright is fallen all the way back to almost 10th place.
Guy I know we haven't mentioned, his presumed wife is in the chat, Kyle Hanshaw, running back in 33rd, having a nice clean race. Just want to throw his name onto the list. Other guys who we haven't talked about, one of the guys who had an opportunity to win duel number 1 last week, right behind him, Wyatt Nadel. Just behind them, Mark Rabilis, Leighton Norgard, couple of guys that have we have not talked about them tonight, but they are running clean, running good. Robert Hill's back there as well, broadcaster extraordinaire. See if those guys are around at the end. That's the game they're playing. They've got the old Dale Jarrett strat. Keep it clean, keep it at the back of the pack, let them wreck in front of you, see what happens. It can work, it can cost you, but we've also got some guys back there that with damage like Dewar and Hosak. Those guys been in the wall earlier tonight. They're going to see if they can minimize that damage and let those guys wreck up front, where Andrew Rucker continues to lead.
What an exciting season we've got here, folks. We've got a lot of racing coming up for this Elite Series, a lot of new names. The competition's getting harder and harder out there. It did cost me leaving the racing scene, go to the broadcast booth, but I think it made the competition better with me leaving. It opened up a spot for more people to race up to the front, but overall, really good racing upcoming. You don't want to miss anything with us and the Elite Series. Join us for almost every Wednesday night as we broadcast these events. They're not all full distance like this one. We do three events. They're the Crown Jewels is what we call them, that are full distance. Normally they are half distance, but join us on Wednesday nights as we enjoy some sim racing and some really good competition as far as auto racing goes. And we do appreciate everyone joining us here, but we are slowly coming up to the halfway point of this race, and so far one caution and a lot of lead changes, and I've got to say, so far the draft package here has been one of the best ones we've had in sim racing.
Yeah, you've got I broadcasted for Elite I think it was 2021 A Daytona 500, it might have been B. 84 lead changes in that race. One of the greater races of all time, I would have thought, in this Elite Series. I think Alex was there with me as well. And, this race is certainly a more green race, right? We're seeing these guys take a little bit better care of each other. They're not overstepping their boundaries. They're very much driving within their limits, but they're putting on a really good show. And that's the mark of a great race, in my opinion, right? Is, showing guys at the limit, but not overstepping it. And, a lot of times in these sim races, you'll see guys just willing to overstep the limits, spin each other out, and just doesn't matter what's going on around you, and caution fests and whatnot. And it's nice to have a nice green flag race that we've been able to put down 100 laps with just the one caution.
Yeah, 200, to give you a perspective, 250 miles we've already done, and still the top 40 drivers are separated by 6 seconds. That is incredible that these drivers are able to keep going like this and being able to race this well. Unfortunately for Jeff Green, the only driver still out of the race. 2 drivers, 1 lap down. But other than that, it's still up for grabs for any of these drivers to be able to not only become a winner, you become a Daytona champion. There's not many times you become a champion with 1 race win, but that's the thought process when you come to a Daytona race like this, because it wasn't just 1 race. You had to go through the qualifying, the long 2-hour qualifying, single car runs. You had to be able to get through there. You had to be able to get through the the duels and be able to race your way up into a spot like for the starting position. So you've already gotten a lot of races, a lot of laps down. And when you become a winner, you become a winner of a multiple weekend event, and that's why it becomes a champion. So winning this event is probably as much prestigious as winning a normal champion in any of the other divisions that Elite host, and it's one of those that will always be remembered, and that's what these drivers are after right now. So keep that in perspective when you see these 42 drivers that are still out on track trying to get this win, of what the dedication that they've come to be able to attend this event and try to go after the prestigious Daytona 500.
This is a huge one. right? And we've seen some really classic finishes. Andrew Rucker went to the top of the racetrack, blocked off Ryan Gavel's run, dropped back down to the bottom in front of Garrison Hogan after a lead change at the start-finish line. But here come those Lake Norman Chevys up top. Gable, I think it's Gable actually, Crump, Vincent Isabella, who's not a Lake Norman car tonight, but he runs with them other times, and Ethan Stanley up there in that 92 car. And Ethan looks like no ill will to the 3 car who spun him out earlier.
Well, we can't tell that for sure. When it comes down to the end, we'll see how much that really truly plays out into a factor. As I do think we're going to be coming up on. Oh, we got a driver up in the wall. I think that was the 16 there. This driver we haven't talked about at all. He just slammed the wall pretty good there. Who is that? That's Jordan Owens. Yeah. Oh, he had a rough Duels last week. Spun out on pit road, caused one big wreck, and I think he's just wanting a better time of it today.
Lake Norman guys juked out Vincent Isabella right there, and yes, Jordan Owens definitely on a better run so far tonight. He has made the first green flag pit stop without spinning it under pit road. Perfect, already better than last week, and obviously a little bit of contact with the wall, but nothing major. And hopefully Jordan can keep it clean. That was the last guy on my list. We need to double check and make sure there's nobody else on the list to mention in this race. Took us 104 laps, but I think we finally talked about everybody at least once tonight. Got 3 Lake Norman cars all together up on the top of the racetrack, and we've heard guys talking about teammates all week. We got teammates up front now. We'll see if those Lake Norman guys can keep the lead of this race and show us how important those teamates truly are.
Well, Lake Norman is run and operated.
Oh, here comes Crump.
Oh, yeah, he jumped right down in front of Vincent Isabella, didn't he? Man, come on. You got to read the rules here. Vincent Isabella is not going to lift. You got to be careful with that. That 3 cars.
Well, I think that's what Scott Crump was counting on, right? I mean, those guys have raced together well in the past. They drafted together really well in duel number two last week, and Crump was counting that Vincent Isabella was not going to lift because that's going to push Scott Crump to the race lead.
Yeah, he's got that bottom lane rocking right now. They're able to push themselves out pretty decently in front of the group here. But yeah, that's. I know they have a good relationship, but boy, yeah, that Chevy front nose is maybe a little bit more pointed than the Fords and the Toyotas, and it's been proven a couple times tonight that the Chevys may end up turning you around a time or two. But good job for these drivers able to keep going straight. And while we're on the point of the Fords and the Chevys, what do you think so far of the Ford bodies and the Toyota bodies? I know they just got introduced just a few weeks ago. A lot of these drivers just got their paint jobs put on to these new bodies, and some of them look pretty good out there with this new body.
Yeah, I questioned it right when they were announced. It didn't look super good, right? But you sit there and you look along that bottom lane. You've got Rucker in the Ford. You've got Garrison Hogan in that Toyota. You can pretty clearly see those new noses. They look pretty good to me. I think when we get to Daytona in a couple weeks in real life, I think these things they're gonna look just fine, man. They're announcing their paint schemes. I think the problems with those are not the nose, right? Like the nose is fine. It looks like a good car. There's other problems with this current Cup Series car, but those changing of the nose is not one.
Yeah, so far really good racing up front here, still side by side. It's now side by side for the first, it looks like 20 rows almost. The entire field side by side here, as drivers are still running their paces and giving each other plenty of room. I'm seeing most driver gives each other about a car length room, and then every so often there's a big checkup, and it starts stacking them up a little bit. But right now these drivers are playing very nice on the racetrack.
Hey guys, I just talked to Aftermath of Motorsports. They expect to go down pit road in about 15 laps, so that window is closely gaining for pit road. They don't expect things to get too crazy until that last pit stop, they told me.
Oh, very good, very good. So looks like the teams are already kind of figuring out when they're going to go down pit road. Expect 15 laps. Thank you very much there, Alex, as that gives everyone here at home a little perspective. In real life, you would normally get race receivers where you sit down and you can listen to the teams as they go around the racetrack discussing it. But here in the booth, we can actually go down there and talk to them as they're racing. Maybe at times it may not work out perfectly for them if they're in a bad situation, but Alex is willing to risk his neck going and getting this information for us.
Gerald, I got it, right? And while we're here, Dave, you can give me the last two guys we haven't mentioned. We finally figured out which ones they are. We have not said Johnny Thomas's name tonight. I think that he'd probably prefer it that way.
Let me think
Josh
of the other.
Personet's name tonight.
You forgot one other. Michael Goodman.
I've definitely said Goody's name tonight, but he has definitely been quiet. I did. He was zooming up the top at one point earlier. The other one I'm questioning whether I said
in the wall hard in the wall. He's stuck up there. He's gonna possibly lose the draft here. I'm not sure what happened. It almost looked like he logged out or something. Yeah. I mean, he slammed it.
To get a replay, I'll keep an eye on the lead pack. It's currently Justin Fuller and Ryan Gable side by side.
I mean, he got stuck up there.
Yeah, it looks like he just got stuck going in corner entry. A little bit loose.
I almost thought his wheel got disconnected there. What in the world? That was netcode.
Must have been.
I think that was netcode.
So shot him into the fence right there. Very strange situation there for Nick Massey. Definitely a tough break for one of our Daytona 500 winners.
Watch the front nose of his car. So netcode is when iRacing thinks that you made contact when you necessarily didn't.
Yeah, look at that. That has to be
netcode. That had to be netcode.
He didn't have anybody within a car length on either side of him there.
Alex, can you check with Nick Massey and find out if that was netcode for us? That had to have been net because he just. I mean, that was so erratic.
Yeah, I'm on it. What team is he in with?
He is Mountain Man.
Yeah, Mountain Man this season. First season with Mountain Man.
All right, let me talk.
They got themselves a really good driver of Nick Massey. Really looking forward to see how he's able to do with that team and being able to run out this season. I think he's a championship contender when it comes down to it.
We don't have like team points over here with the Elite Cup Series, but if I were to pick an Elite Cup Series team that might accrue the most points, I'd have my eye on that team to compete with Lake Norman and Pro Edge, right? I mean, that's Johnny Thomas is going to get points like nobody's business. Vincent's always fast, though sometimes reckless. Chris Wright's probably a championship contender if we're being honest, and then I think Nick Massey's probably also a championship contender, and so you've got a kind of a squad over there that can really accrue points very well, and that's a strong team.
With that, David, is if when they get to the road courses, because I do believe I do agree with you on all the others. They need to get a Tooker or a Narcy Anderson or even Ethan Stanley if they want to be able to compete with the road courses. But everywhere else, they're definitely top contenders for most of this event. I think we got Alex back in here with us. But
he does not know that was the consensus. Very weird chain of events right there that led him to the outside wall in turn 3, but he doesn't believe the car is too hurt, so he's gonna try and muscle his way on back, but definitely something to keep an eye on, and hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, the only issue with him now is he's the last guy on the lead lap, 10 seconds back from this main pack, so he's gonna need some cautions to be able to try to rack himself back up there, as I do believe we're probably within about 5 laps from these drivers looking to go down pit road here.
Good news for Nick Massey, he has latched onto a group of cars that he'll probably be able to pit with, including Michael Hosak, Rabilis, Robert Hill, Dusty Dewar, Leighton Norgard, and Harrison Talon. So, quality group of drivers there that he will be able to pit with. Oh, Crump blocking off Ryan Gavel.
Big checkup. Yeah, that could have been bad. This is where I'm worried about, because right now they're giving each other room. So you see about a cars with space in between them right now, and that's fine when the first couple cars check up and they start colliding in with each other and that starts to back up like it would be on normal traffic. That's fine when you have that spacing, but when it gets time to go time and these drivers aren't giving any spacing on track, I think we're going to have some problems with some of these checkups. I think it's going to cause a little bit of issues for a few drivers, as it looks like a lot of drivers are trying to find a way down. That outside lane only has about 5 cars up there, so I'm going to believe we're going to have some pit stops here maybe this lap. 3 laps? Yeah, I thought so.
Coming soon. Trey Eidson's worked his way into the top 5. So has Jordan Owens, another one of those Mountain Man cars. And he's got help from Tyler Fode. And if we're going to see what that 40 car has under the hood after that damage from the incident with Jeff Green, I think we're going to see it right now. If Fode can push Owens up to the lead here, I think that would be just about evidence that 40 car is just fine in terms of horsepower and able to run right up here with the leaders.
Well, David, if you would have watched yesterday, Johnny Thomas hosted on the podcast the former 500 wins on Belly Up Sports. One of those wins. Oh, Gavin's coming in. One of those
Norman guys are.
One of those wins for Tyler Fode came with him coming across the finish line without a front nose. So if anybody can get away with damage, it's going to be Tyler Fode.
It sure is. Here they come. Pit stops.
Only 5 drivers down this time around.
It's all the Lake Norman guys.
I just talked to some of the guys from after, 21 Savage Auto Sports. They thought the window was opening up for pit stops, and they think the aggression is gonna peak right after. So everyone trying to get ready for that second stage.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you very much, Alex. We're going to see probably more cars coming down this time. I think this is when majority of them had them set. I'm seeing a lot of drivers saying they're coming down now, so we'll see how they are coming down pit road. Yeah, only 4.
No, Mountain Man, Rucker, and Fode are the ones who come down. Everybody else staying out. Trey Eidson currently the leader. It's a fast group of 4 right here. We also saw that big backpack of cars that Nick Massey joined. That's a group that came down pit road on the first opportunity as well. They're going to try to pick up some ground. We'll see if they can get back to the leaders in the lead draft. But overall, I think they're in trouble, as now we're getting messages for Wadsworth, among others, coming down pit road this time. This should be a fairly sizable pack.
Yeah, this is where you got to be careful. Drivers are going to have to announce which side of pit road they're going to be coming down. You got to be careful who's pitting before you. And here they come down pit road, a ton of them. Make sure no one locks up here.
Fuller's coming real quick. Yeah, he made it.
Yeah,
we're good.
Barely.
Oh, spinner.
That's exactly what you have to watch out. One driver found out he needed to pit before anybody behind him, and he turned down right in front of somebody. I think that was the 26th there. I think that was Fortner. He was already a lap down.
Yep, that's a tough break for him. Not going to help him at all. 77 cars already down and away. Let's see if Owens almost spun it out coming off pit road.
No.
We expect that next group of cars to come in. Fueled Up Racing is expected to come in this lap.
Here they come. Hogan coming down pit road.
Oh, a lot of them. The rest of the field pretty much at this point coming down pit road. Oh, 70 is into the grass. He might get a speeding penalty.
Yep, that might be a penalty on Rasimus.
That might be. He went through the grass just a little bit there, so Rasimus may be serving a 40-second penalty here.
That would have been a unsafe pit entry.
And he drove through his pit box.
It's not going to work out good for Jesse Rasimus.
No, he's going to lose his draft if anything.
Comes this group off pit road. Let's go. I'll take a look back and see. I think the race leader's gonna be. Rasimus came off pit road with everybody else. Really, the only penalty there was gonna be him. They're gonna give him a drive-through.
Drive-through. So he is gonna get a penalty. He's just getting he's getting it reduced to just a drive-through rather than a 40-second wait, which is a lot better than a 40-second wait. So unfortunate for Rasimus, as you see these drivers starting to join back on track. We're going to go 3 wide just a little bit here as these drivers try to find a comfortable spot to fit themselves in.
This is a big group of guys that came down first, bypassing the group now. And this is the Lake Norman guys who came down pit road the very first lap. It was pretty much open. But I think everybody's pretty spread out where they can keep the draft together. So my assumption is that this whole entire group will pack back up over the next 10 or so laps. And 10 laps, that's when the stage ends. So, you know, when Alex gave us that report that those guys were going to, pick up that aggression, it's gonna come. It's gonna happen right now.
Yeah, right there you see it looks like Ethan Stanley, Scott Crump, Ryan Gravel there, Fody, all those Lake Norman guys knowing when to come down pit road and working with each other perfectly to perfection as they're going to now lead the pack here. They're going to try to work together, try to get a little bit of distance from that second pack. But
Burrell just got a big shot in the rear bumper. They're trying to wreck back here. Wadsworth almost wrecked it.
Then, in the second pack, it's going a little sideways for them as they are trying to, with the stage coming up, trying to quickly run down that front pack there, and it almost ended badly for a couple of them.
RC Anderson, the ones in this lead pack, trying to push up to the back bumper of Nick and Delicato. So it's a 12-car first pack, and then 13th all the way back through about 26th or 25th or so. That second pack's bigger than this front pack. I think they'll probably run them down before the end of the stage.
But it's running out. I mean, they need the shoves and push. I'm watching the counter right now, and it's not gotten down as quickly as you would think. They need to line it up just a little bit better here.
Yeah. Frankenfield trying to go for it here with help from Indelicato up the back, and that'll slow this pack down a little bit.
Yeah. Chad Frankenfield not playing the team role here. He's wanting to break up that Lake Norman dominance up there. And here comes Fuller. Now seeing Chad Frankenfield going up there. Fuller's teammate there. Eidson going to be jumping up there as well. So now we got a few drivers jumping up there trying to get that outside lane working as we get closer to the end of the stage.
Frankenfield and Delicato were out of the points, right? There were 12 cars. They were last two. The only way for them to get points was to make a couple of passes right here. So definitely a smart move there for them to get into the points. And, you're noticing a lot of our kind of playoff-y type drivers up here, right? I mean, Scott Crump, Ethan Stanley, Fody, right? Frankenfield, Eidson, Indelicato, Wright. A lot of guys probably pencil in as championship type hopefuls. Jonathan Cutlip's in this front pack, Garrison Hogan, and David Tooker. Like, this is the group of cars that you would kind of pencil together as maybe your championship hopefuls, and they're all fighting for points here in the first race. It's already on their minds, I think, going forward.
Yeah, the season starts now. They know that the points are only going to get harder to get, and they want to try to rack them up while they can, because you don't know how the race is going to end if with this many drivers still on the lead lap and still running. You may run up front for the majority of the race, and then all of a sudden you end up wrecking out and end up with a 40-place finish. You want to be able to have these points behind you. As you see, finally the second pack has reached the first pack and quickly making that outside lane their preferred lane to jump in. Oh, it looks like Matthew Weeks. Yeah, Chris Wright wanted to jump in front of him. Oh, it didn't work out. But who is that just jumped right in?
Oh, no, it's Delicato. And Delicato will. Blue car, black nose. But Weeks does not care. Huge run.
Delicato, and he said he's going for it.
Yeah.
As far as the stage goes, it's never too early, and you never know when you need a point. How crucial that point could be later on in the season, and the season starts now.
Yeah, absolutely. So Weeks out front on the bottom lane. Almost out front, has worked his way up within a few laps, able to come from that second grouping all the way from high to low through middle. Didn't matter. He's able to get himself up to the front of that bottom lane now. Going to have a shot at being able to get there. Right now, R.C. Anderson right behind him, giving him a shove, trying to get that going. Here comes through the middle. Keep an eye on that 3 car, that golden 3 car back there. Vincent Isabella.
Yeah,
he's been trying to figure out how he can make that middle lane work.
That's our stage 1 winner, Vincent Isabella, right there. And here comes Chris Wright on the bottom of the racetrack, right in front of Matthew Weeks. So Wright goes and trying to take the lead away from Justin Fuller. Fuller's been up front all night long. His teammate Trey Eidson back in front a little bit for that 77 car. I think he was one of the ones that got turned sideways early on in this race. Chris Wright, though, now takes the lead on that bottom, and you see just how quickly the momentum shifts from top lane to bottom lane to top lane.
Here comes
It's really
Vincent.
hard to predict. Yep.
I said, oh, contact a little bit there. It may have almost doored. I think that was 64
Rucker.
Rucker there, yeah. He almost doored him. I told you he's going to try to see if he can make that middle lane work. There comes a few others. Chad Frankenfield.
This is going to be risky right here. Vincent is going to have to
no.
lift. First time tonight.
I don't know.
He got
He's
into
not.
Stanley again.
No, he's not. He's not going to lift. He's going to turn once again. Another driver. Did you say lift? Oh, they're hitting, spinning out behind him. Still no caution. It happened on the outside of the racing surface. Vincent Isabella sideways. Caution is going to come out now.
I believe that will be the stage.
David, you need to apologize to everyone saying that Vincent Isabella was going to lift there.
Well, I said he needs to. I didn't say he was gonna. It looks like that was not his fault in the slightest after. Who's on the apron right here? Who's on the apron? No, it's not him. Someone's on the grass. Who's on the grass? See? It's Gavel.
Yeah, Gavel.
Yep. Gavel causes the incident here. Well, the final incident. Everybody saved it before that. And then Gavel was on the grass.
Yeah.
Came back up and clobbered into Indelicato. For that, Vincent definitely needed to back out. That wasn't going to work.
Okay. So you will admit to that point.
Oh,
Let's see Vincent's point here up here, because it's a little funny.
Yeah, just hooks Stanley. Stanley with a great save. Everybody else is able to keep her. Everybody else is able to keep her straight, and Gavel runs it onto the grass, and then comes back up and smashes into Indelicato, spins him out, gets into Vincent.
I think Nick disconnected his brake pedal. I don't think he's got that set up for tonight. I think he just has the throttle. As you see the Gavel there jumping back up onto the racetrack, hits the 10 into the 3, spins the 10 around. Luckily, they stayed on the bottom of the racetrack. I don't think either one of those drivers are going to sustain too much damage there. I do want to go back one more time, Dave, just for my podcast more than anything, and see him rewatch that part where Vincent makes a little bit of contact there with the 62 or 92.
The second contact with the 92 tonight for Vincent and Stanley.
A little farther back.
Stanley probably gave him the first one, but I think the second one that might be it for Ethan. He might be a little upset at this point.
Yeah, just stuck his nose there.
Slightest bit of contact. All it takes, but a good save by Stanley. No damage, right? No harm, no foul just yet. And right there at the line, Matthew Weeks is going to win stage number 2 of this race. So Isabella, stage 1. Weeks, stage 2. RC Anderson's going to be second in the stage. Josh Clark going to pick up third stage points. Actually, no, I think Ryan Schultz picking up third. Some of these guys pitted that were up here. Chad Frankenfield pitted. We should probably take a break because I'm going to need to hit the restroom.
Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and give it over to Dave to do our commercial break here before we go back green here to finish up here the Daytona 500.
The NASCAR Cup Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway on June 1st and 2nd, 2024. The time to get your tickets is now. For only $10 down, you can lock in your seats for an incredible weekend of family fun, featuring the Enjoy Illinois 300 and the Confluence Music Festival. Racing, music, camping, it all adds up to one amazing party. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
All right, we're back. I'll
here.
do, you want me to do a couple of sponsor reads?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do some sponsor reads, Dave. I'm sure you did a better job than I did earlier here, but we'll give it over to you, David.
Okay.
See who do you think?
Okay, our series sponsor is Belly Up Sports, is the internet sports bar, sports commentary via podcasts, forums, articles on topics ranging to nearly every sport, not your usual sports site. Check them out at X or bellyupsports.com. Our race sponsor tonight is Homeplace Beer. Homeplace brews sensational farm-to-pint beers using lots of local ingredients from Yancey County, North Carolina. At Homeplace, you'll find plenty of lagers, table beers, hoppy American, and multi-English beers, and some mixed culture fermentations. Our premier sponsors are Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses. Small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan. Finally, Worldwide Technology Raceway. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. It features a 1.25-mile NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and IndyCar Series. It also has a 2-mile infield road course used by Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club America, a quarter-mile NHRA drag strip that hosts the Midwest Nationals, and the Kartplex, state-of-the-art karting facility.
We do thank all of our sponsors that allow us to be able to talk about these drivers on here and allows you to be able to watch this at home. We couldn't do it without our sponsors. And we do appreciate them being a part of the Elite Racing Network family here. As we're back going green here with a little less than 70 laps left to go. It's kind of getting closer to go time here as the nighttime skies are starting to come on, or starting to come out, and the lights are about to come on. I feel like when the lights turn on, that's when the heat's going to start rising in here, and that's when these drivers are going to start going harder. Right now, Matthew Weeks leading that bottom lane there. Out on top there, looks like that is Chad Frankenfield. Both of these drivers are former Daytona 500 champions. So both of them trying to show their prowess here early on. Chad Frankenfield won the inaugural one, so that's been a while for Chad Frankenfield. Trying to get going here with a push. Looks like that is on the outside. Fuller right behind him, trying to get that outside lane going. Losing a little bit of time to that bottom lane.
Now his first teammates, Pro Edge Motorsports, Matthew Weeks, RC Anderson, Josh Clark, lined up 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. Matthew Weeks, winner of stage number 2 there. After some pit stops, some of those guys are going to be able to go a little bit longer into this final run, the final stage of the Daytona 500. Only 67 laps to go. We're going to be watching that final fuel window. I think once it hits 40 laps to go, you can pretty much come down pit road. So I think some of those guys calculated it out, figured they can make it to 40 laps to go, lap 160, and run this race backwards from here. Once it hits 40, you just come down pit road, pick up, fill that thing full of fuel, and you're golden.
Yeah, right now, so far it's good. Fuller able to work his way now out front here after getting Chad Frankenfield up front there on the bottom lane. Now Fuller's going to get a real good push there. Driver we haven't gotten to talk about very much today, Trey Holmes, getting that outside lane going, pushing Fuller. Right behind him, Ethan Burrell now finds himself back out front. Kind of played a little bit of possum in the back of the pack after having some incidents earlier on. Now seems to be working his way up with his new teammate, given there of Goody right there behind him, Michael Goodman, in that number 44. It's good to see him running up into the top 5 for the first time here tonight. So that outside lane is starting to roll now that the temperatures are starting to come down and the lights are starting to, the sun is starting to go down here.
Casey Hatch up into 7th. He was really strong in his duel once he was in the lead. You've also got Johnny Thomas up here in the top lane. So a couple of guys that have really been playing the waiting game have decided it's go time here once this final stage has begun. And you're seeing a big stack up on that outside lane now as the momentum shifts just like that. Chad Frankenfield, Matthew Weeks, R.C. Anderson surge forward on the bottom.
I think a lot of it has to do, David, is just with them being able to cool it down. I think a little bit of overheating causes them to have to space each other out, and that's where the momentum shifts, is when one lane ends up having to cool their engines down, maybe not push nearly as hard, and that's when all the momentum leaves them. And right now it looks like both lanes are starting to spread out, and that's when you'll have this period of time where they don't gain on each other, they just race side by side, no one really going forward, just kind of maintaining speed, and that's kind of what we've seen so far this evening.
Driver, I'll tell you, the worst spot, right? It's when everybody's not doing anything and you're just kind of riding side by side. Very difficult to make moves, very difficult to pull forward, right? And the only way you're going to pull forward is what you just saw right there with Chris Wright jumping up to the top lane. He had a teammate up there, Johnny Thomas. Both of those guys mountain handlers, both teammates. Johnny backed off just a little bit from the car in front, let Chris Wright in. That shifts some more momentum to the top lane because there's an extra car up there now, and that surges Justin Fuller, Trey Holmes ahead, and it cuts a little bit of that momentum from that bottom lane, and that's how this thing moves back and forth. And unless you have a teammate up top, you're stuck down there in that bottom lane.
Yeah, a lot of switching up here as drivers try to find their teammates or try to find who they want to work with here now that it's getting closer to the end. There's no more stages, so there's really nothing else for them to look forward to other than the finish here. There is going to be a chance for them to pit one more time under green. I think we'll be able to get away with just pitting one more time. It's going to be close on fuel, but I don't think they're going to have to make multiple pit stops here.
One more stop. That's for sure. They just got to pit at 160. Maybe you want to pit 162, right? Lap 162, just to make sure you have enough fuel. If we go to a green-white checkered, you don't have to come down pit road and get more fuel. But I mean, unless you're leading, you're probably going to be able to make 41, 42 laps. So 160 might be the earliest some of these guys will think about coming down pit road. And yeah, I mean, you want to try to get as much of an advantage as you can. So if that pit window opens, I think you'll see guys come down pit road. And my wager is that once that pit window opens, we'll see guys come down pit road. Then the intensity will ramp to 100, and that's where I think we'll potentially get some of the incidents. And I'm sure everybody's been praying for, but I believe it's been blessedly peaceful for the majority of this race.
Yeah, top 41 drivers on the lead lap, all separated now by only 3 seconds on track. And I gotta say, this kind of reminds me at times with how these drivers are able to hook up. Just look at right there, the 88 and the 51. I mean, look how much spacing they get between them and the drivers behind them. With the shoves that they're able to produce, it kind of reminds me of tandem drafting, almost to the point to where I'm interested to see if that's how a deciding winner will be placed tonight, is if two drivers are able to hook up, not worry about engine temperatures at the end of this thing, and be able to get the speeds that some of them are able to produce by this.
Hey guys,
good, but
one thing I wanted to remind you guys is that final pit stop, they think a lot of these guys can go to probably a lap 170, which gives them a 10-lap cushion for a green-white checker. If any of the past 9 Daytona 500s are any indication, a green-white checkered is almost coming. So see a lot of these guys kind of run this fuel run close to empty because they want as much fuel as they can for the next stop, and this will be their last stop.
That's good to know there as far as when they should be able to get to the pit stops here. As you see Ethan Burrell able to drop down to that bottom lane in that bright yellow car. New team for Ethan Burrell, trying to get his Chevy, which is going to be hard for us to have to try to memorize that he's in a Chevy now.
I almost said he dropped down in front of his teammate there, but he did not. Matthew Weeks, Ethan Burrell, they worked together a long time. They are good friends. They are not teammates, not this season.
No, he's with Do Good this year, so Ethan Burrell, probably the biggest free agent from last season, moving over to Do Good Motorsports and trying to see if he can be able to work his way up there right now behind Fuller, who's been kind of doing a really good job of just playing the high lane and low game better than just about anybody. But oh man, he gets a little bit of a shove there. But yeah, Fuller's been showing a lot of potential here of being the main leader of these packs, just being able to have the confidence to jump down in front of people with whatever lane sets has the surge.
Yeah, I've seen a number of guys. Fuller's definitely one of the ones you'd kind of point out as a favorite here, but I think there's a long way to go. A lot of guys haven't shown their full hand yet. You know, Fuller's been really good. Chris Wright's been really strong, right? I mean, Matthew Weeks won our stage. The other stage won Ryan's Isabella, right? Those guys have all run up at the front of the field all night long. So, you know, I think you're going to have to run up here and show everyone that you know what to do when you want to go take that lead. But, you know, it's one of those things where once you get up here, like Ethan Burrell has, you got to maintain it. You got to stay up front. Ethan Burrell's done a really good job of that. Trey Holmes has done a really good job of that. And then obviously these two Toyotas, Fuller, Eidson, and then the Pro Edge guys out with Weeks and Anderson. They've all been really strong. So here comes Ethan Burrell, jumps to the top of the racetrack. He's expecting a big push from Trey Holmes. He's going to get it. But it's not going to be enough to take the lead at the line.
Working his way, he's been slowly working his way back up there after having issues, and now is looking very confident and strong up there, not worrying about floating to the back or waiting to the end of this race to make a move. He's decided to do it now. Now, a couple drivers that I am surprised that are back there is a driver like Tyler Fody and a Josh Robin. We saw how aggressive they are. They're still in the pack. I mean, they're still within the danger spot of the wrecks. But they, you know, we're so used to seeing both of those drivers up here at the front. I almost wonder if, because everyone's so concentrating on running these two lanes, how difficult it is to try to get up to the front. Maybe you have to start looking at trying to make the moves now. Maybe you can't be able to wait until the end of the race because there just simply is not enough time to be able to get up there.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You know, this is almost what we're seeing is very, very similar to what we're going to see as Ethan Burrell does clear Fuller for the lead 37 car now out front. We are seeing something very similar to what we will see in real life at Daytona, and we've seen in real life at Daytona the last several years, where if you're in the top 6 or so, you can move around, you can make moves, you can push, you can shove, and you can get to the lead, and then you can fall back and you can stay in that top group cycling forward. But if you fall back to 10, 15, 20th spot, you cannot move forward. There is nowhere to go. You are riding, you are waiting, you are hoping that they wreck in front of you, and you dodge said wreck in order to be able to make your way forward. There is no way to make moves unless you make those bonsai 3 wide moves we've discussed, and those are where you get the wrecks that we just discussed as well. So I think this pit stop upcoming is where these guys have their eyes on. If I'm gonna wager anything, is anybody in the mid-teens, they're gonna try to get a leg up via the pit stop, whether that be pitting late, pitting early, whatever they want to believe is the advantage. They're gonna try to go off cycle of these guys.
Yeah, talk about the most important pit stop of the year, because it truly is. I mean, it's as much as a factor as well as you being able to be good at drafting. You have to get through that pit stop well, and you can't have a situation where you spin out on pit road or do like the 70. I mean, Jesse Racivas, he sped through pit road, and he was very close to going a lap down afterwards. He got lucky with a caution, but you may not get that situation. And, you know, as much as you'd hate to be involved in a wreck, you'd hate worse to not even be in the conversation because you made a mistake on pit road.
I have an exact experience where I lost the race at Daytona by speeding on pit road. It is an easy mistake to make, and it is one that you simply cannot lose the race on pit road, because you can definitely lose it coming to pit road. They're trying. Vincent Isabella.
Isabella.
Guess who?
Yeah.
The madman.
I'm glad he painted that thing gold because it's a warning sign. If it was black, all black. Yeah, if it was all black, we would have had some big pileups here. Because he makes a very quick motion to make it 3 wide. He doesn't give anyone a chance to react. He takes it very quickly here. But here comes Johnny Thomas chopping into that middle lane.
You know what he's trying to do is line up all these Mountain Man Chevys, right? Johnny Thomas, Nick Massey. He's trying to line them all up. Right, Chris Wright's in front of Johnny. And Vince is trying to dump Wadsworth up the top. Wadsworth's able to side draft Johnny Thomas and slow him down. The move is not working, right? The goal there was to line them all up. It is not going to plan. Justin Wadsworth is not cooperating by falling backwards, and it's creating a 3 wide situation that might be a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, talk about a bad scenario for Mountain Man. As if they get into a wreck. I mean, they're all right
take all
there.
their guys out.
Yeah, take them all out. Only one that's a little safe is Chris Wright, a little bit farther ahead, but he almost needs to drop back just to try to help them make that move in the middle lane there. But Wadsworth is doing an incredible job all by himself. That just kind of shows you how strong that outside lane is and just how unimpressive that middle lane can be at times.
Right, it's unless they're checking up, that middle lane just is nothing, right? You see Vincent Isabella's pump drafting Johnny Thomas. They can't go anywhere because Wadsworth's taking the air off the side of that 91 car, slowing it down. And it's just kind of keeping them at the same pace. And, in theory, right, no drafting help from Wadsworth. These guys in the middle working together should be able to clear by him. But, I do think this is very much a real thing for this next gen car, a real problem for it. We have seen it run 3 wide a few times in the past in real life, and it just does not like to run side by side that close, right? You have to be split apart to get that run and to get those big momentum gains on the outside lane. And just like that, Justin Wadsworth holds off Johnny Thomas, holds off Vincent Isabella, and they have to fall back in line. There's nothing else they can do.
Yeah, they kind of just gave up there. They said, I've had enough. It wasn't worth it. Johnny Thomas dropped back down to the bottom lanes. Vincent Isabella stuck behind now, the 6th there. But one driver that made a move there to try to find his way up to the front while all that was going on was Goody. He jumped up right behind Chris Wright as he just blinked out a little bit there. He's now up behind Chris Wright trying to get that lane going. Oh, the 14 hit the wall a little bit. Oh, that's dangerous. That was
Casey Hatch.
Casey Hatch there made a contact with the wall. That is, you don't want to check up in front of a big group of people like that.
Gotta be careful, Casey Hatch.
Absolutely. Hey, Alex, can you go down maybe to Do Good and see their game plan, because they are. I mean, we see a lot of teams working really well together, all kind of put together and kind of trying to work with each other. But I'm looking at Do Good Motorsports, and they're about as spread out as you can imagine. Ooh, 3 wide Casey Hatch. Wow. Look at Trey Heitzen dropping back like that.
Heitzen not able to make the same moves that Wadsworth was able to keep the middle line from clearing by him there. So big drop for Trey Heitzen. He will fall outside the top 20, it looks like.
Well, while we're on Heitzen here, let's go ahead, Dave, if we can. Let's do a look back at the clash here, why you want to keep an eye out for Heitzen, and maybe how this will work out for the end of this race. We're going to do a side-by-side shot of what's going on the racetrack and a look back at that race-ending finish of the
Norgard going to the middle. Here we go. White flag in the air. It's Weeks and Hogan on the high side.
All sets up for Trey Heitzen there. Finds himself in 4th position. And you see right here, you see these 3 drivers all kind of playing a little bit of mind games, and then this is what you have to expect for tonight. Here comes Trey Heitzen with a massive run, and look at him, within a period of a couple seconds, able to jump up in front of those drivers and able to go about taking it all the way home to the win. There wasn't a full field at the end of it because there was a massive pileup, but that's kind of what we're going to have to look out for tonight is, you know, it may not be the first couple guys up front that ends up winning it. Trey Eidson from 4 cars back able to come up and snap the win.
Exactly. So Casey Hatch able to make some progress under the regular green flag with some conditions there. We'll see a good side-by-side shot, but definitely a cool look back to the clash. I think it was like a week and a half ago at this point. You know,
Seems like forever.
I know. Eidson has been up front all night, but with that outside move, ends up falling back. Casey Hatch, Chris Wright, and Michael Goodman, the 3 drivers leading that top lane, not making progress since they got side-by-side with him. So it's kind of stalled out there. And Burrell, Fuller, Weeks have been able to maintain those top 3 podium positions for the last 10 laps or so.
Another thing we haven't really talked about at all, Dave, it's not only a win in the glory, but a win tonight makes your season that much easier, knowing that you've locked yourself into a lot of things, and that's what a lot of these guys maybe want to try to go about doing is to lock themselves into these playoffs for this Elite Series. I mean, look how competitive this series is, and if you're able to get it done early on at Daytona, it may take the 6. I saw Vincent Isabella trying to make it 3 wide again. Oh boy. Let's go a little bit. Vincent is now, he's gonna jump to the outside. He's trying. Vincent Isabella is not.
I don't think Vincent wanted to be behind the 6 car. That's why he took it 3 wide the first time. There's something about the comfort level not there between Vincent and the 6. Maybe it's something Wadsworth's doing. Maybe it's, you know, something Vincent prefers. Maybe Vincent just wants to be closer to the front. But either way, he don't want to be behind that 6 car anymore. He's about fed up with it.
He's trying to see if he can go outside, inside there. I think for next week he needs to come with like a Gravedigger paint scheme and just have the car numbers of the people he spun out on the car, just to show.
To the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, Goody's getting out of there. Yeah, Wadsworth might need to be told who's behind him and make sure he knows that if the 3 cars there, there's no break.
And that works good when you're trying to push to the lead. Not so good when you don't want to push whoever's in front of you. So, you know, I will say Goody dropped to the bottom. That tells me pit stops are not far away. We are entering the window where you could make it with 1 more green flag pit stop on fuel. 42 laps to go. Those guys went 42 laps on the first run. They were probably saving a little bit of fuel. Alex did report that they're maybe waiting till lap 170. I think that's pretty reasonable if they have to get there. And so, you know, lap 160's coming up, right? It's right around the corner. It's on its way. And I think once we finally make that green flag pit stop, presuming it's under the green flag condition, that's when the intensity's about to pick up.
Well, one thing you got to remember there, David, is when did Lake Norman, the last time we had green flag pit stops, when did they come down pit road? They were one of the first ones to come down pit road. And that leapfrogged them all the way to the front. And that's why right now we don't know when they're going to come down pit road. You would want to save some fuel, but you also just saw Lake Norman make it work out perfectly by being one of the first ones to come down pit road, draft really well, and get back up to the front quickly.
You also think, right, Matthew Weeks won the stage. It was not a Lake Norman car. He was one of the ones in that second pack that got huge momentum and drove past all the guys who pitted first. So you might be okay making that second pit stop, as Casey Hatch has taken the lead in that 14 car. Chris Wright doing a marvelous job pushing on that 14.
Chris Wright's been running up front for the majority of this race, really doing a good job for his first run with that number 9 now for this season, and doing a good job of being able to get Casey Hatch up to the lead, leading this event here over Ethan Burrell. Casey Hatch has the option to go down to the bottom. It's going to stay in front of Chris Wright, and again, boy, you just got to wonder how hot some of these cars will get with trying to push and trying to lead these things. You'd almost think that you would want to give the guy a break on the push, but Casey Hatch still running that high side lane in front of Chris Wright.
Chris can manage the temperatures and he can keep that thing fresh. He's going to the top.
Oh, no, he said no. You're going down if you like it or not. Yeah, I was wondering. I said it. I was wondering. Chris Wright probably would have preferred them going down to the bottom.
Oh,
oh, Vincent. Oh, in front of big wreck. Oh, more wrecks. Who was that made hard contact? Was that the 4? Some cars checking up. Everyone checking up.
Vincent has tried and tried to get around that 6 car and finally lost his patience.
Oh boy.
That'll take the spice out of this final pit stop. Once again, it was when Chris Wright was the car in front of Vince, and Vince goes down, and
that wasn't the 6 didn't go down. Vince came back up. Yeah.
Looked like it hooked him via the netcode, but that netcode don't happen if Vince doesn't make the pretty aggressive move.
And then comes back up to the side draft a little bit. It looks like you see him. His car does go back up back up of that black line there, and just kind of
gonna get damage to Fuller, Burrell.
Guys, something I like to say: when the leaders have a problem, it becomes everyone's problem. I mean, this happened right at the front of the pack.
I don't even think there's all that much damage throughout the pack. I think maybe the 4 car.
No, right here, once the 6, yeah. 6 comes back up into the 4.
Those 2 maybe have the most damage of anybody here, but this is a fairly tame wreck for having, third place get wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everyone came to a stop, and that was the surprising part. People actually came to a stop. I don't normally see them actually do that. People were very aware of the situation of the track being blocked, essentially. Here comes a 4. That's gonna hurt it.
Ford Ryan Scholl too.
But guys, we're getting to the point of the race. You mentioned that this will take some of the spice out of that final pit stop, and you're right. This essentially puts everyone in their fuel window, but guys aren't riding around in the back of the pack anymore. They're making moves.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see I think we're gonna see wrecks bigger than that one was. And we've gotten away with it a little bit. I think.
Yeah, that was only our 3rd caution there, but I can. Oh, you see the 6. Is it just so happen? Who's that? Is that the 3?
Overlap pits because we have 4 and 3.
Okay. I just saw a gold car, and I was wondering if he was saying hi to his pit crew or not. But but no, I kind of have a feeling of what the podcast theme is going to be for tomorrow night when we go to replay these wrecks. It's going to be a lot of the 3 involved. So
we'll ask John to make the 3 car a bulldozer at some point, right? I mean, not all of the. Right,
I think he's done that pretty well himself already, but
right the paint scheme though. But the thing that you got to remember, right, is Vincent's aggressive. He's always been an aggressive driver. You know that racing around him, and that last one definitely on the 3. We haven't seen the call from race control just yet, and I do want to shout out Mark Murphy doing a good job of keeping things calm and sane in the driver chat. He's gonna declare who's at fault for drivers most or all of the season for us, and
I could see them doing a netcode call too. I mean, it's gonna be up in the air. I would not put that on the 6 at all.
Yeah.
So it's either gonna be a netcode call, which would be at no fault, or no, they're gonna claim that onto the 3.
That's about right. And
I feel that's pretty true. But if you want, Alex, go see what Vince's opinion of him getting that call called against him there, if you want.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Go where?
Vince,
see if you can talk to Vince and see how he feels about that call. See if he agreed with it or not for us, if you don't mind.
What was the call?
They gave him a tally for causing the wreck.
All right. I am on it.
Thank you there. So now we are coming to about 36 laps left to go. I mean, we're at the go time here.
Oh yeah, it's time to go, and we saw that a little bit with Vince was about the only one who decided to go there before the caution came out, before that final pit stop. But we saw Chris Wright jump to the top on Casey Hatch. Some of the other moves that were made within the pack definitely starting to spice up, and I think here is where the pushes become greater and the blocks become much more late, and where we get some incidents. Let's re-rack this field. Chris Wright, race leader. He's been up front just about all night. Trey Eidson running second. He's been up front just about all night. Nick Massey is currently third, which is a bit surprising given that he was in the wall earlier via some very strange netcode. Casey Hatch is fourth. Matthew Weeks, stage 2 winner, is fifth. Dusty Dewar is up to sixth after scraping the wall coming to the end of stage 1. Trey Holmes is seventh. Mark Rabilis is up to eighth. Scott Crump is ninth, and Ethan Stanley rounding out the top 10 as we re-rack to get going. Jordan Owens is up there in 11th. Chad Frankenfield up there in 12th. Tyler Fode's up here as well, near the top 10, sitting, I think, about 9th on the bottom of the racetrack. So that car's been damaged in an earlier wreck. We'll see what it has here in the final run to the finish.
Hey, guys, I was able to talk to Vince. He feels that he knows he was driving aggressively, but he feels that accident may have been a little bit in part on the 6.
Well, he can always rewatch my podcast, and his opinion will be ignored there as well. But we'll discuss that more in detail as they're going back green here. It looks like both of those Mountain Man Motorsports cars. We do appreciate that, Alex, for getting that. But are starting to zigzag through here, able to get up front. So Mountain Man 1-2 right now. I know, David, I picked Jeff Green, but since he's out, I really want to give a shout out to Dustin Dewar there. He's really good at these super speed.
Right. That's kind of the beauty of these play tracks. Is some of these guys who don't always get the shine on the normal racetracks that we typically run week to week. Even Casey Hatch there in the 14 leading that bottom lane. Guys that are going to be, in contention if they can hold a steady wheel. And we've got 3 wide mid-pack. David Zucker's going for it.
Yeah, this is when it gets a little bit crazy here. Oh boy. And it's the late block.
Rucker at the wall.
It's the late blocks. It's going to be the checkups that causes the issue.
Guys, this is go time now.
Absolutely.
You're done with your final pit stop. This is where you make your money.
Right there.
Oh boy, they're almost into the wall. They're almost wrecking. Johnny Thomas is trying everything he can to get that middle lane going. They're still making contact. The 84 into the outside wall a little bit. I don't know how they're still going. 84 still making contact with the outside wall. Racima's right behind him making contact. It is so difficult with how hard these cars are handling to make a 3 wide work right now. And
Fuller to the middle.
Oh my gosh. Fuller with out of nowhere, but he's going to stall. He's got no one with him. You can't make that move if you don't have anyone to go with you, and he doesn't have his teammate.
Oh, he just shot it right at the track in front of Wyatt. Poor Wyatt Nadel.
If this was a Christmas party, people are snagging presents out from each other because there is all take, no give, and right now we're seeing it all on racetrack. They are all about trying to get these positions up front. They see the lap counter coming down and it's zigzagging at the front. Matthew Weeks now takes the lead. It's go time, folks. These drivers are trying everything they can to get out front. Right now, the 11 leads Trey Holmes there out front. Oh, Fuller on the outside. Go back there to Fuller. This is not good.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Fuller forcing outside.
And that's, we're seeing it, right? 30 laps to go. It's time to go because you can't make moves unless you are aggressive in this package. There's Kyle Hinch. That's Garrison Hogan currently getting shoved to the middle lane by Fuller up top. Johnny's in the middle now. He's getting side drafted by Fuller. Fuller running by himself, making up spots in the top lane.
I have never seen a driver make moves and make them work as much as Justin Fuller did all by himself. Unbelievable. He didn't do it nicely. He did it his way, and he got up there and made some passes.
Here comes Cutlet.
He's trying. Oh, boy. They're so close together, and these cars are so out of control with how loose they are.
We've seen how 3 wide just doesn't work, right? I mean, Jonathan Cutlip, Jesse Racine is working hard at it, right? RC Anderson coming up the middle.
Cars in the wall, the 4. Oh, there. When we can see from the screen here, smoke from their tires hitting the wall, that shows you how hard these guys are pushing it.
Oh, Schultz just bounced off of it. 4 car in the wall. I think that one's okay. RC just cannot get any run going up the middle here, and every time somebody cuts to the middle, it kills momentum in the outside and opens that bottom lane back up. And you can see Trey Eidson's working forward with it. Casey Hatch is down there still as well. And back here, these guys jostling for position, but really not going anywhere. The guy who's been able to make any progress has been Justin Fuller in that 51 car.
And that's just because he's been forcing people to give him the spot, but it works. If it works, it works. But right now, we come to 30 laps left to go in this event. I have a feeling that Dave and I are going to probably lose our voice if they continue like this all the way to the end, because it is getting exciting. And right now, Matthew Weeks, a former Daytona 500 winner, out front leading that high side lane, but he does not really have any of his known teammates around him. So he's vulnerable compared to some of these other guys.
And you look at the pairings behind, and he's basically relying that Trey Holmes, who is not in the same call as him, who is a former teammate and good friend, is going to stick with him. But he's also battling against guys communicating, like Scott Crump and Ethan Stanley on the bottom of the racetrack, or Chris Wright and Nick Massey directly behind.
Yeah, one thing I think that we're going to have to keep an eye on, I'm just seeing it now, that 77 and 51, they're in different lanes, but that middle lane can open up, and I can see Trey Eitzen there trying to make that middle lane going for him, and then here comes Fuller. So keep an eye on that middle lane. Can still be opened up here as drivers try to figure out how to get themselves up late in this run.
And you look at Matthew Weeks leading this race, right? Remember, we went back and watched that clash, and who was leading that clash on the last lap? It was this 11 car, Matthew Weeks, right? So he's been up front in this car already this week. He's looking for another race win, just 28 laps to go. Still plenty of time, but Weeks is in a really good spot right here. You want to be leading, I think. I think that's kind of the way this has gone. Is you just got to be out front, because anything could happen to take away multiple cars at this point in the race, right? A big wreck is inevitable almost.
I just have to say, what an attaboy to these drivers out here. We are coming to 30 laps left to go. We only have one driver out. We have 42 drivers on the lead lap. You don't even see that in real life NASCAR. Yep. That amount of unbelievable talent by these guys to be able to stay out on racetrack. Now, some of it may come down to these cars being tanks, but even so, I mean, they can't take everything. And for these drivers to be all on the racetrack like this long into a run and still have the patience to keep going is unbelievable.
I mean, we're T minus
look at
3 hours.
Look at the two people.
They're running together.
They don't want to be. These are the only two people that are not in the main pack. Justin Wadsworth and Vincent Isabella, 30 seconds behind. They don't like each other probably right now. They both blamed each other as far as what Alex says. And now they're having to force to work together. Sometimes karma is cruel, for sure.
They're hoping for one of these big wrecks I'm keep talking about to happen, because they're about to go one lap down, but they're trying to have it here in the middle of the pack. The Rucker area is starting to get a little bit crazy.
That sounds like a bad hurricane. The Rucker.
The Rucker area. Oh, look, just turned to Nadel. Big wreck in one. No, it's not.
No caution. Nadel hard into the wall, but they keep going. I think the 84 is going to probably be terminal. That was hard.
Tough break for Wyatt Nadel. You can see it's kind of crab walking down the back straightaway, not accelerating up to speed. That didn't break the pack really apart. Those guys stayed in it. We're going to go back and take a look at what happened. Looked like Rasmus took a big run to the middle and ended up spinning him out.
I think it was a lot of netcode. I think it was a lot of netcode, but very aggressive move regardless there that ended up causing it. Go back here and see what happened.
Here comes was the 70. Boink. Oh, yep, net code for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for it to spin out that badly, you
And
see where
right
the tires
front.
are supposed to be by the smoke. So yeah, a lot of net code. I mean, it even even for net code that was bad.
Yep, right front tire into the wall. That's what's going to hurt Nadel's car the most. Caution does not come out for those two guys working together that really love each other. And Chris Wright's going for the lead up front.
Yeah, Chris Wright able to get down to the bottom lane here, right in front of his teammate there. So now two teammates are going to try to make that bottom lane work. Nick Massey right behind Chris Wright as they push themselves up, trying to go side by side with Weeks for the lead.
That inside line now just not moving forward. Right? That outside lane able to carry momentum a little bit better. And who is entering the top 5? It's Chad Frankenfield and Justin Fuller in that 51 and 15. A couple of guys, we know they're very aggressive. We know they're going to make some big moves going for this win. 3 hours into this thing, let's see who has that mental composure to be able to make the final move and take this thing home.
Now, I know what you're saying there, David, as far as the bottom lane not being super fast, but that's not what the point of the bottom lane is. It's stable. It's that relationship that you know is never going to end. You're going to be able to stuck it out and not have to worry about losing spots or losing your couch or whatever analogies you want to put it as. I think the outside lane is just doomed to fail at any point here as soon as drivers try to make a 3-wide move. That's when that outside lane loses its momentum. That bottom lane will never run away and never leave you there. As here it comes, that middle lane.
Yep. Is
Hey,
that on a teammate?
I just got done talking with Wyatt Canadal. He was not too pleased, despite that being netcode, but he had some colorful wordage, shall I say,
Here comes Johnny.
about the cars
there it is.
running against him. Oh, car in
Johnny
the wall.
into the wall. He stays up there. I don't know how that was not a wreck. I do not know how he's going to lose the draft.
Oh, man.
Oh, unfortunate for Johnny Thomas, another former Daytona 500 winner there, as I think he might have suspension damage. He might be able to keep going there, but that spread it out just a little bit there, trying to make a 3-wide move work once again, and you see it's so difficult to get it to go in your favor.
You can't make passes, basically, is where we're at, right? I mean, we saw Rasmus, outside pole sitter, fast car, jumps to the middle, and Nadel gets turned, right? That's the second time in a week that Nadel has been turned from something not of his own doing, right? We saw him leading in the duel and getting spun out. So, and, tough for Wyatt Nadel, and again, another avoided caution there as Jimmy Thomas and Garrison Hogan make contact. A couple of Daytona 500 winners, former. Here comes Justin Fuller. It's time.
Fuller side drafting Chad Frankfield, jumping down to the bottom. Here they come up on some lap traffic that's going to cause a forced 3-wide situation here. Hopefully things go well. Hopefully these drivers see it and don't try to make it a 4-wide situation. But here comes Fuller. I think he's going to have a little bit of draft help with them running the bottom lane. Fuller able to find his way. So anybody back there cannot complain that they can't make moves. Fuller able to do it all by himself to be able to get up front here and showcasing that it does take a little bit of skill to make these super speedway wins happen.
Fuller, I mean, you can do it if you put guys in really bad spots. Oh, they're wrecking. Oh, they're not.
No, they're not wrecking. Oh, they are. Trey Eitzen spun around, 14 into the wall hard.
Goodman's
44.
wall.
Oh, Goodman's destroyed.
Dewar
upside
down
down.
was Casey
That's
Hatch,
Dewar.
Garrison Hogan, Rucker. Man, big wreck. We're going to have to go back and take a look. And that all happened because they were coming up on Vincent Isabella and Justin Wadsworth. And we'll have to see when the timing of that caution flew as to whether or not either of those guys gets back in the lead lap. Looks like
The
it's
28 Clark got into the wall, caused a
And then the stack
massive
up.
checkup. Yeah.
That's the stack up. And Trey Eidsen's going to get some big damage here as well, I believe. And it looks
He
like
just-
they're going to put both Wadsworth and Isabella a lap down. So Wadsworth.
If
will
that would have happened at any other time when they weren't coming up on lap cars, everyone would have been able to go down, but they were all focused on giving room for the lap cars, and that forced them to stay up in that high lane. And
Oh,
unfortunately,
man.
that's what caused this massive wreck, as Trey
Conrad-
Eidsen's going to be done. Dustin
Cutlip
Dewars
involved.
going to have a hard hit.
Tyler
Goody,
Fode's in this.
he almost got through it. He's going to make a hard hit to the outside wall.
Look at Frank. Frank's drifting it sideways. He's going to get some more damage. Oh, man.
Oh, look who's upside down.
Casey Hatch.
Casey Hatch flips it upside down.
Jordan Owens in this one as well. Big wreck, finally. We've been waiting for it. It was always coming. At long last, it would appear.
With 20 laps left to go, it happened. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be on Clark for hitting the wall and causing that massive.
Oh, and nothing for Casey Hatch.
And it's so typical. The guy that starts it gets away.
Drives away, yep.
That's just how it goes, unfortunately, for some of these guys. And it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if Casey Hatch is going to be able to keep going or not. He is still going.
Yeah, Hatch. I think Hatch is going to be. He's going to be damaged, but this race is about to turn into a big race of attrition. Let's take a look at a couple of these guys get through it.
Do that, flip it upside down and keep going.
Look at Ryan Schuld, man.
I didn't see there, but look at Fode. Tyler Fode. Yep. I didn't see how hard he got into it. Can you go on board with Tyler Fode here and see?
He got in it. And
he got in it hard.
Ryan Schuld with a masterful job of wreck avoidance. I would also point Robert Hill and Mark Urbilas here on the bottom. Also, Michael Hosak. All three of those guys, great job getting through this thing. Just cut it to the apron. He's going to get some damage, but I think it's all kind of side damage. It's not that nose damage that can really kill you.
Yeah, Goody's got no front bumper on there, so a lot of do good cars out of the race there.
Dude, Goody took a hard hit into the outside wall, man. Hate that for Goody. He's up in fourth for a little bit. Casey Hatch was leading this race for a little bit. Hogan, RC Anderson's going to get involved in this too. Just a tough one. Oh, RC broke through it. He makes it through. He just lagged out, so that's why I didn't see him before. But there goes Hatch up and over. Just Jesse Rasmus is going to make it through this thing.
I can't believe that 14 is still going, though. I know he's got a ton of damage, but that was a hard hit. I mean, he flipped it multiple times. I mean, it was really hard. Here's Jesse Rasmus.
This is a good move from 70 to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Schuld goes past Rasmus here. And both of these guys are going to make it through this wreck. Cutlip involved, Jordan Owens involved. Look at Kyle Hanshaw down there on the bottom. 46 car, sneaking it through. Great work. Hopefully Frank don't have too much damage either in the 04 car. Sliding sideways, but he only got a little bit of a scrape.
I think he's better off than his son's vehicle.
Yeah. What's the word from pit road, Alex?
Hey, I just got off with Casey. He says his car is done 8 minutes of required damage and just not looking good. That'll do it to you, though, when you're upside down on the backstretch at Daytona.
And it's a little harder to reach the roof to repair it, but yeah, that's going to call an end for the 14 car there. That's going to add a few more to the garage area. So Jeff Green's going to have some company now in the infield as some of these drivers are going to have to watch the rest from the infield care center.
Goody has managed to keep the 44 car on the lead lap. So has Cutlip, Owens, Rucker, Fode, Tyler Fode. Justin Wadsworth did get the lucky dog leaving.
Yeah, Vincent Isabella got stuck a lap down.
Tough timing on that. Maybe a little deserved given some of the incidents so far tonight, but you got to be aggressive to win these things. We've seen it with that 51 car tonight, and Vincent's moves often didn't work, but the 51s have, and I don't think those were all too dissimilar of drives to the front so far.
Well, folks, it is go time. They're lined back up. We're going to have 16 laps to go for this final event here. It's going to be for the 10th running of the Homeplace Beer Daytona 500. We appreciate everyone joining us here. This is what weeks of preparation has brought us to. 16 laps to decide another champion for Elite. We're going to find out here. We have about 37 cars still on the lead lap, still within a chance to be able to lock themselves down for all to remember. And here we go back to green flag, as it looks like Matthew Weeks is going to lead that inside lane there with the help of Trey Holmes right behind him.
Bill texted in our chat, it's go time. That's from 12th place. So these guys are aware. It's time to go. It's time to get on the horse and try to make those moves. We've seen how difficult it is and can be to get through this pack. You've got to be really aggressive and at the risk of some of the competitors around you. See what Robert can do from 12th, but let's see what some of these guys can do up top. It looks like the outside lane with Justin Fuller moving forward, pushed by Chris Wright.
Do you think these guys learned anything? I think not. I believe we're going to be seeing some three-wide action here before too long. These guys know that they need to get up there. The time is running out, and there is little light left on the racetrack as we get closer to the nighttime.
There it is. Vandermarl to the inside of Hanshaw for three-wide in the middle of the pack.
Oh, they're trying. It looks like Ethan Burrell now stuck in the middle, trying to get it going. Looks like the 46
again.
Oh, he's underneath Racimas there, forcing that bumper in between. Able to get going there. He's hoping that he can get enough help.
Weeks blocked Fuller up front. Weeks jumped to the top with Holmes. Those guys jump back to the top. I expect to see that bottom lane surge forward here. They really stuffed up the outside lane. Now it's Chad Frankenfield pushed by David Tooker on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, here comes Chad Frankenfield trying to get that bottom lane going. Trying to get side by side with the leader, because Fuller will definitely try to take the bottom lane, but they're three wide in the middle. It's getting tight. Drivers are bouncing off each other. And so far,
they're going to wreck here. There goes Chris Wright.
Chris Wright.
Big wreck.
Massive. 3, 4, 10 cars involved. I'm seeing bumpers on the racetrack, 37 around backwards. Oh, ton of damage.
Ethan Stanley, Jordan Owens, Ethan Burrell, Justin Fortner, Chris Wright, one of the best cars tonight. Robert Hill was involved in that one. Seth Rawls, Nick Indelicato, Harrison Talon, all taking damage, spinning out in this wreck. Oh my goodness!
It all started there. Looks like the 90 gets a little bit of help. Yeah, he pushed Chris Wright up, and then he got help from behind to push him further alongside. And unfortunately, Chris Wright was forced 4 wide. And it's hard enough to do 3 wide here.
Did Revilis keep this thing straight in the 99 car? I think he might have. He might have kept this thing straight. Got hit in the right front. Kept his foot in it and just
I think it helped him by getting away from it. It got him away from it.
The 88 or the 4 right here, but I mean, overall, I think he's going to get through scot-free.
I think Chris Wright also got away for what it was fairly lucky here.
I think Frank Foti might have had one of the better onboard potentials here. We might have to double check, but it looks like he had a really lucky time getting through this one. Frank's had some masterful wreck avoidances here so far this week. He finished in the top 10 in the trucks. He had some really good wreck avoidances in that one.
Well, maybe he stole his son's luck here at the super speedways here. There's wow.
A little bit of damage, but I think he's going to spurt through on the bottom and just there's his teammate Ethan Stanley round.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Frank made it through.
Clear in front of him. Let's go back on board with the 70 car as well. Because I know he got involved, but he kept it straight. And I know he was surrounded by wrecked race cars at one point. So right here, you see Jesse Racinas here. And he's in the worst possible spot right here.
I think he's got a lot more damage.
I was just able to talk to Chris Wright. He feels that the damage isn't significant, but he'll never regain the track position, and this is just a product of coming down to the end of the race.
Yeah, it is what it is at this point. These drivers have one goal in mind, and that's to get up to the front and try to win this thing. And unfortunately, these are the circumstances that you'll have to deal with. As, boy, I tell you what, Nick Massey missed that by inches.
Yep. So does Michael Hosak. Is Hanshaw and Brent Jones, do those two get through this, or do they come up the track and wad them up? And Brent's going to get hit right there, but that's not heavy damage.
Oh, the 16 Owens.
I think Hanshaw and Brent Jones are okay. I think the 89 and the 46, they're all right. I don't think that's too heavy damage for either of those guys.
Owen slammed him. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Owens is gonna have some damage. Hanshaw is 13th. Brent's being scored 31st.
Here's Owens, how far back he was.
Let's see, how'd Robin get through this? Let's see, Indelicato. Oh
my
man.
gosh.
Indelicato stopped for it. He was ready. Personette stopped for it, but Rucker and Owens kept on going.
He went past like seven or 8 cars before he got into it. I mean, look how far back he was. He was quite a bit far back from where the wreck was, but it just never stopped.
Johnny Thomas made it through, I believe. Owens, and at this point, Owens has got the brakes slammed all the way down, and it's just.
I don't know if he's got the brakes slammed down.
The net code from the 10 car helped him out.
Yeah, he throttled it back up. I watched RPMs there. He throttled it back up.
Not sure what he was doing. The 10 of Indelicato, awfully lucky, I would say. The net code keeping him alive. Ethan Stanley wrecked in this one as well. Good stopping by Personette. Johnny.
Well, their pace car lights are off. We still have 37 cars on the lead lap still.
Got one back. Vincent Isabella finally got his lap back there. Here comes Jordan Owens. That should be the end of both the 10 and the 16 car right there. The fact that it isn't just yet. Thanks for netcode and Delicato and Owens would both be taking their lucky stars.
That could have been underneath them at one point. Yeah, that's crazy. Now the pace car lights are off. We're going to go back green with 10 laps left to go in this event. It's we've seen 2 massive wrecks now back to back within a short amount of time. And I have a feeling with how many cars still in there, I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done with the wrecks. I think, again, people, as much as points matter, people aren't thinking about the points. They want this win.
Yep.
And I think they're going to do whatever it takes to get to there. But, Weeks is in a really good spot. He was in the spot in the clash we saw earlier. And maybe he learned something. He learned how to maybe hold that front of the race a little bit better. But I'm just seeing everyone kind of split up. I don't see a lot of teammates. I know his teammate Tooker is a couple of cars behind.
Clark too.
Yeah, that is true. Clark is up there. I forgot about Clark, but I guess
Fuller lost Eidson. Yeah, and Nick Massey lost his Chris Wright, his pusher. So yeah, I think some new players are going to join the fray here.
Yeah, this is when you find who you match with, I guess.
Yeah, I think Chad Frankenfield and Justin Fuller are both looking for dancing partners here, and it's just going to have to be whoever's behind you is your friend here as we go green. Coming to 10 laps to go.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks gets a really good jump there. He's got Chad Frankenfield able to get him out front. Now the question is, do any of these guys jump to the outside? Chad Frankenfield's going to be clear. Oh, they all go to the outside, but Tooker decides to stay down low in front of Fuller. Oh, I just think you got to have to keep an eye on Fuller. We've seen him work his way up to the front without any teammates. He has a good shot to be able to continue that trend here as he's going to try to get up to the front. But they're already stacking up, pushing hard. Look at that bottom lane go.
Vandermarl taking the middle again with Johnny Thomas.
Oh, Nick Massey, go. Oh, Fuller he knows where that bumper is at all times because he just threw it right in front of Nick Massey.
Middle, there's 3 wide in the back. They're dicing for the lead. There were 3 lead changes in that corner. Oh, they're wrecking. Vandermarl and Johnny. Johnny's going to come up in the middle of the pack and hit Vincent.
Vincent around, 63 is around.
John Cutliff, Robert Hill.
Caution is back out here, but not a massive wreck. Most of them pushed down below the racetrack.
Johnny is not happy with Vandermarl. Down in turn 1.
Oh boy, yeah, he just followed him all the way down to the yellow line.
And Johnny jumped to the bottom. He was ready to go, and Justin was a little late on the block there, I believe. This is behind the right. Yeah, here it is. Johnny's already on the bottom. He's heading to the apron. The 80 car just keeps on coming.
I don't know if he didn't think he was there, or what was going on there. It caught him off guard. But then Johnny Thomas gets loose there, and then they come right back up. This is gonna be a hard hit. Oh,
Johnny Cutlip.
Cutlip hard. And then Cutlip gets hit hard. Yeah, Personette slams him.
And see, Josh Personette's a perfect example of the downside to the sit in the back strategy, right? I mean, Josh Personette hadn't put a wheel wrong all day. He's been just hanging out in the back of the field, hasn't really tried to go up to the front. And here he is, 3 hours later, he's completely wadded up in a wreck that's not of his own making. And, he didn't get to race at the front of the field at all. So, he ends the night completely the same as guys like Garrison Hogan and Trey Heitzen, who were running at the front of the field. And, that maybe that's the downside, you would think. And yeah, 80 car getting the tally. I presume if we don't get a message, then we just assume it was a racing deal for those last couple.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Personette slams him. Yeah, you can't slow down that fast. Unfortunate, as they are still under caution. We are getting closer to the end of this thing, folks. If you do enjoy the product here for the Elite Racing Network, do subscribe for us onto the YouTube channel here. We go racing most every Wednesday. There's other races in the Elite Racing Network all throughout the week. We do race next week at Homestead, so we'll be staying in the Florida area. For your Florida guy here, Gerald Campbell, that's a great thing. We love Florida. So we're going to be staying down into the Florida area as we go to Homestead next February 7th. And then we go to Coda Road Course. So a lot of different tracks in the upcoming schedule here for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. And a lot of good racing still to be had as drivers try to work their way and getting a championship in their bag and get into one of those championship spots at the end of the regular season here. But other than that, David, I'm enjoying this so far. This draft package has been phenomenal. I think it's been really good. Not too dominant for one lane, not too push happy. Kind of still have to rely on teammates. I think that's really good for the type of racing that we've seen.
We've had a good race tonight. We ran about 170 laps, had 2-3 cautions, and yeah, it's kind of gone to hell over the last 20 laps. But what do you expect, right? I mean, these guys are starting to push harder and harder, going for it even more. And obviously, Justin Fuller's been one of our most aggressive drivers, and that has rewarded him greatly. He's up here in the lead, trying to win this thing. I do not know if Fuller's won an Elite Cup Series race just yet. My wager is no. I could be wrong. But, Fuller, Nick Massey, Matthew Weeks, David Tooker, right? Massey's won a Daytona 500, as has Weeks, as has Chad Frankenfield back here in 7th. So a bunch of guys up here with some experience winning these things. And I think you said it earlier, Gerald. That experience, I think that doesn't go away. Once you win this thing, you kind of know how to get yourself up to the front at the end of it once again.
Yeah, I just want to put a note out for Nick Massey there, running in 2nd place, has won one of the Daytona 500s that we've had in the past. But I just want to state to people, there was, 62 cars that had entered the Daytona 500. He didn't come in locked in. He had to try to get in through the duels. There was only 3 spots open at the time. He was able, out of 18 drivers, to be able to race his way in of one of those 3 spots, able to get it barely at the last end of the lap. Now he finds himself with a chance to be able to not only race for this thing, but to really help his cause as being an open driver to try to go for this championship run too here. So a really good shot for Nick Massey here in the 48. Not only to try to lock himself into the chase, but some points behind him in case if he does have issues later on, and to try and qualify for one of these races. So good outcome for Nick Massey, and good for me because I picked him to win the championship in the podcast. So kind of good shot for me as far as him in the position that he's at now.
Before we go green, he passed Frank Fody to get into the race, right? And Frank obviously making it in because Tate Lytle was dropped from the event due to other commitments. And look at Frank right there running in ninth, having a great run, kept that thing pretty clean. We've tracked him through a couple of these big wrecks, and that old 04 bite-sized sports car. He's gonna outpace his son tonight. Tyler's already out of this race due to the damage from that big crash. So good work for Frank Fodi.
Absolutely. Well, here we come. 5 laps to go. Are we going to see another caution, or are we going to see the white flag? That's what's going to be determined here in the next 4 laps of this event. But here they come. The pace car is pulling off here. It's going to be Nick Massey on bottom, Fuller up on top. Who's going to be able to get this done? We still have 34 cars on the lead lap. Green flag is out, and they're underway here. Only about, 13 miles left to go in this event to determine who's going to be a Daytona 500 champion.
Big move from Chad Frankenfield, going to send Trey Holmes to the middle, and they're going to wreck huge.
Wrecking Trey Holmes into the outside wall there, and add the more miles to the end of this.
They're going to hit again, and Justin Fuller keeps the lead, and Trey Holmes, a car pretty dominant out here, gets wrecked, and tough break there as he was a little bit asleep there, did not hold that car on the bottom line. He ends up giving the middle over to Chad, and he comes up the track, and I think somebody's going to get right there. He ends up net coding into that 24 of Michael Hosak.
Yeah, hard hit there after this. 88 goes up into Michael Hosak there, and around they go. Collects a few people. Let me see.
I think Frank's going to make it out again. I think Frank had another one. And
barely.
Robin,
he gets a little contact.
Robin gets out of this clean. Nick and Delicato's going to clear through. Rabilis and Rucker make contact, but the big hits are Holmes, Hosak, Hanshaw. See if anybody else comes into this one, but Rabilis is going to get Harrison Talon there.
Harrison Talon comes back up the racetrack. Yeah, there's a couple hard hits there.
I think Seth Rawls gets like a ton of air on the bottom. He cut to the apron, and that car jumped off the ground once he went into the grass. Right. Oh my. Yeah, we're gonna need to watch Seth Rawls' car on this one. He took a ride through the grass here. I think it was just a little bit before where you had it. And yeah, we're gonna get a netcode incident there, which I think I agree with. So Holmes was pretty much held in the middle there. All of a sudden shot it, but yeah, here comes Seth. Watch him take a leap across this access road.
He wasn't risking it, was it? He was just going through the grass. Woo!
Boom! All 4 wheels off the ground. Oh man, I don't know if the jumping over the dirt factor on iRacing gives you underneath damage, but he got pretty high off the ground right there.
Yeah, he was flying.
That's a dirt bike maneuver right there, Seth Rawls.
Well, they do have dirt bike races in Daytona.
There you
go.
But
it's usually on the front stretch.
Here it is. Seth paints his own cars too. He's gonna get a nice shot of that one flying through the air.
That's pretty. That's a pretty look right there.
Man.
Who knew these Fords like to fly?
I know it. So I wanna point out, right? David Tooker pushed Justin Fuller up to the lead there, so Tooker's gonna restart this one in second with teammate Josh Clark restarting in fourth right behind him. That might, David Tooker 500 win, and David Tooker, he's a very long time veteran of this series, certainly a championship contender year in and year out, and I think that 19 car might have a little something for Justin Fuller here.
And so we're going to have our first shot at a green-white checkered here. I believe we get 3 attempts at a green-white checkered. So these drivers still have a couple more times to try to see how they're going to go about complicating things here. But yeah, as far as the front goes here, drivers to look out for. Chad Frankenfield, we saw him. If you leave the spot, he's going to try to take that away from you. Robin, definitely a good super speedway racer there, going to have a chance to work with a teammate there of Gavel. He's going to try to see if he can be able to get up there with him. He's got Fody right there with him, so we still got some Lake Norman cars there in line that could play a factor into all of this. You got Andrew Rucker right there outside the top 10. So, I mean, there's still a lot of drivers here that have some super speedway prowess that can definitely be able to make a factor in this thing here. As the pace car lights are off, we're going to go green next time by.
I just don't know if you can make anything happen from that mid-pack, right? I mean, we just went through back to 10th or 9th or 10th. Darcy Anderson's back there in 10th. I just don't know if Anderson, Nick and Delicato, Rawls, any of those guys, can they even make it up there, right? Chris Wright said there was no way he would make it up through the field. He's up to 16th. He's dodged the first couple of wrecks. He's going to have a couple more opportunities here because this is green, white, checkered 1 out of 3, and we might get 2 more. So, you know, can those guys do anything from the mid-pack? Being who? Oh my goodness.
Tucker, no.
It's not the first time that's happened to Tucker, eh, Gerald?
He's lost the championship due to that. And
who won that championship? Do you remember? I don't remember.
I don't know. Some guy that probably didn't deserve it. But otherwise, yeah, that was me. But still, Tucker, I don't know if his computer is nervous when it comes to situations.
Oh, that's heartbreaking, man.
That or somebody just does not have it out for Tucker. An iRacing server and just disconnects them whenever they see him in any kind of situation. That's unfortunate for him. That's going to move up the outside lane all up one.
Wow.
So
that makes Josh Clark the top car on the outside. He's going to be pushed by Chad Frankenfield
of all people.
Yep.
Yeah,
another guy who has not won a Daytona 500 in quite a while.
Yeah, the first Daytona 500 10 seasons ago.
Josh Robin is up to now 6th. He was involved in the very first incident in this race.
Oh, it is set up to this. Green, white, checkered here. This could be the end of it. Here they go. Green flag is out. Fuller able to get onto the loud pedal. He's able to get going here with Nick Massey. He's actually got quite a bit of a lead here.
He's got too much of a lead. He's got too much of a lead. Fuller does. Massey's going to have an opportunity to go to the middle, but he's going to stick to the back bumper of that 51 car. Now can Chad push Clark, or is Clark backing up to try to get Weeks up in front of him? Here comes Fuller to the top, and that makes Massey going to the race lead.
They're going to try to force a 3 wide on Fuller. I don't think they're going to want to try to push him.
They're going to wreck. They're going to wreck.
In the
Chad
middle, he's trying to get it working.
Weeks pushes Massey to the lead.
Rucker into the side of Chad there, almost turned him around.
And it's Lake Norman on the bottom with Gavel and Robin.
Here they come on the bottom lane. Here they come to the white flag. Oh, that's all they need to get to.
They're going to try to wreck.
They're still trying to wreck. Oh, I don't know how they're going to keep going. White flag is out. The next time by.
Who's going to win it there?
Leading. Weeks right behind him. Clark right behind Weeks. Here they come.
If we learn anything from the clash, it's Ryan Gavel. It's going to win this race. Gavel just bounced off the Fuller
into the wall.
Anderson's having blinking issues. Owens is into the top 5.
It's going to be a 3-car battle to the end of this.
And that's 2 teammates behind Nick Massey. Here comes Weeks to the
bottom.
Can Josh Clark go around his teammate?
Clark is going to be right behind Weeks. Is Clark going to have any available move here? Here they come to the line.
Win this race.
Weeks is going to win his 2nd Daytona 500. And Matthew Weeks wins the 10th running of the Homeplace beer Daytona 500. Wow, what a finish there. Matthew Weeks able to get it done, learned from the clash, came back for the main event here, and able to get it done for Pro Edge. Pro Edge 1 and 3 there at the end. And look at Owens. Jordan Owens coming back for 4th place, and Brent Jones 5th. Wow.
I said it. I say it every year, right? I mean, you got to bet on those guys that just figure out how to get down there and win that dang. Get up front at the end. Brent Jones does it every season in this series, man. 5th place tonight. I talked to him before this too. He was ready for it. He said, "I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna see what happens." And Brent Jones P5. Hell yeah.
I
Matthew
talked to
Weeks,
Matthew Weeks last night in the podcast for the Daytona 500s, and he felt very confident, and I kind of questioned where that confidence was coming from. And he says he made such a bonehead move in the Clash that he really, really wanted to make up for it here. And I mean,
did just that.
he played it perfectly. Like you said, it's just too hard for anyone to make it up there. Matthew Weeks for the last 30 laps was up front and just had control of it all.
Here comes Weeks was running second once they took this white flag, and Justin Fuller made that move. And as soon as he did, he was moving on. Yeah,
Guys, that
RC
was an awesome race. I'm gonna sign off though. I gotta get to bed.
Alrighty, Alex, we appreciate it.
Pit road contribution, fellas.
Thanks. I'll see you guys next full-length race.
As you see here, coming to turns 3 and 4, that's when Matthew Weeks decided to make the move, drop down to the bottom, able to go about getting himself in front.
Push Clark to Weeks.
We talked about teammates, and Nick Massey just had no more Mountain Man Motorsports drivers behind him, able to somehow side draft and keep Clark behind him to still get that second place.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and see if we can bring up some of our drivers here when they get in, I guess.
Well,
I think they're still celebrating.
Let's look at that rundown before we get into the interviews.
You want to do the rundown for me, David?
Sure do. I'll just point out that Chad Frankenfield does finish 6th in this one. Right, we went over that top 5. Josh Robin does come back to 7th after he and Rucker bouncing off each other. Rucker comes back to 8th. So all the chaos there at the end of this race results in a couple of top 10s for those guys. Leighton Norgard and Kyle Hanshaw finished 9th and 10th respectively. Really strong runs for those guys. Barcy Anderson, Seth Rawls, Frank Fody, and Dusty Dewar just outside the top 10. Great run for Frank Fody, by the way, rookie in this series and first start in the Daytona 500. Made it work. And Jonathan Cutlip, Jesse Rasmus, Justin Fortner, and Justin Wadsworth all involved in wrecks, as was Hossack, Robert Hill, and Delicato, Scott Crump, Vincent Isabella. And as we look down the rest of the running order, Chris Wright finishes 32nd, involved in one of those late incidents. Ethan Stanley involved in one of those late incidents. And then some of the DNFs, heartbreaking for David Tooker and Justin Fuller. Fuller getting involved in that last lap wreck, Tooker getting disconnected before the final green-white checkered restart. And then the final page, obviously, some of those guys that retired earlier in the event, like Johnny Thomas, Tyler Fody, and those guys, Jeff Green, who was the first car out of the event. So let's see if we can are we just doing the top 2, or are we doing Josh Clark as well?
I mean, I don't see Clark in there, but we can. Let's go ahead and bring up our second place driver, Nick Massey here. Nick Massey, I gotta say, you did an amazing job coming from being an open driver, able to come back, leading the last lap. But unfortunately, you had 2 teammate drivers right behind you. What could you have done differently? Was there anything that you could have done to predict where those Pro Edge drivers were going to go?
Yeah, I'm trying to make you proud up there. You picked me before the season even started, so it kind of lit a fire under me to go up here and make the race, and then
there you go.
almost win the thing. But I don't know. I mean, I didn't realize they kind of wrecked in our mirror there, and it was like a 3-car breakaway for the win. I saw Weeks and Clark behind me, and I knew I was going to be in trouble. But I figured I would just stay up top, because I figured if I dropped low to block, they would probably just pull me back on the outside, and both of them pass me. And I thought I was going to be able to maybe hang on Weeks' right rear and side draft him just enough to hang there and pull him back and drag race it out. But Clark just gave him just enough of a push to get him clear. So definitely congrats to Weeks. First one to get 2 out of the group. So hopefully we'll get there next year. It's close.
Nick, how much of this race was dedicated to you trying to work with your Mountain Man Motorsports teammates, and then once they kind of fell by the wayside a little bit, were you looking for some help up there, or were you kind of comfortable with whoever was behind you?
Yeah, to be honest, this package is really tough or at least tough for me. Like, I was kind of stuck back there in 20th, 30th, not really able to work my way up through there because whatever lane I'd get in, they'd drop anchor, and then I'd hop up top or hop down low, and then they would drop anchor. I just couldn't win there in the lane choice. But yeah, Chris and Vince were up there majority of the race, and I just couldn't get up there to work with them. So I was kind of working with Johnny and Jordan Owens back there a little bit, and then finally I was able to get some track position there towards the end and kind of stay up here. But it was tough. The outside was definitely, I think, the lane you wanted to be in. But it was all about the help there at the end, and I think, like I said, that wreck off of 2 maybe hurt me. I don't know. I might have finished worse if there was more of a pack there, but who knows how that would have played out.
Well, again, you got some points your way. I know second place really hurts, but you got to know that a lot of drivers had worse nights than you. How does second place stack up anywhere? I mean, I know that's not a win. I know you already have a Daytona 500, but I mean, as far as how's your outlook for the rest of this season now that you've got this behind you, but also knowing that you came so close from victories? Does it drive you to try to get victories, or does it now go into your mind that you've got the points, you need to continue with the points run?
I'm hoping we'll have the speed here to put together a good season. This is, getting through this one's a big one because definitely a good points day. Because kind of if you get buried back there in like 30th, 40th, it's tough to dig out of that hole. So getting out of here with a good finish and a good points day is huge. But yeah, I don't even know where we go next week, to be honest with you. I haven't really looked at the schedule. I don't know if you guys know, but
Homestead.
Oh, Homestead. Okay. Yeah, I think hopefully we'll be pretty decent there. We'll see how the tire model and everything changed in the off season. Any updates or anything like that. This package changed a lot from the last time we were plate racing, in my opinion. But yeah, looking forward to hopefully continuing the season the way we started it here. Hopefully one spot better, though.
There you go. That's Matthew Weeks. We want to go ahead and let you do your thank yous and shout outs, because obviously being able to get your car into the show here and being able to have a good run and being the top running mountain man, I'm sure there's a few drivers and owners that you have to thank for all this.
Yeah, thanks to all the mountain man teammates there: Johnny, Chris, Jordan Owens, Vince, Kyle Hanshaw in our Discord, all those guys. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. I know there's a lot of challenges and hoops you guys jumped through to get this thing going tonight. So appreciate you guys sticking with it and putting on a good show for us. Can't wait to watch it back. And yeah, thanks to definitely congrats to Weeks and Pro Edge and all those guys. Getting number 2 is pretty big. First one with 2. And yeah.
No, that's Nick Massey, our second place driver. We appreciate him joining us, and we hope so. I hope for sure for my smartness that he has a good season ahead of him.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah. Well, we got our third place driver here, Joshua Clark. What a night. Craziness. It was hard to get a third lane going, the middle lane, but you and Weeks just ended up finding each other and set up perfectly. The only 2 teammates up there to be able to work with each other, and then it was game on that last lap. Give us a replay of kind of how that last lap went for you there.
Yeah, so the last restart, kind of things got discombobulated. Obviously, other teammate David Tooker blinking out. That is very, very, very unfortunate. I bet he's not happy about that. But inherited a front row starting spot and kind of blew it because I didn't get going good enough. But that is honestly what allowed the 11 to clear himself up in front of me. And I thought that was just going to be it, that we were going to be linked up. We were going to go to the front, and that was going to be it. But I got put 3 wide, pulled back. Other teammate, RC, comes up behind me and pushes me forward and gets me back in the mix. And as soon as I saw the 11's bumper behind the 48 on that last lap, I knew we were gonna make something happen. It was either going to be me or him. But yeah, I think I watched it one more time. I think maybe if I would have just stayed high in 3, even though we were talking in Discord and committed to going to the bottom together, if I'd kind of stayed high and maybe Massey would have blocked low or tried to side draft him, I could have gotten them both on the outside, maybe. But really, we were only like half a second ahead of the rest of the field. We might have gotten swallowed up if we did that. So I think ultimately, I'm satisfied. I'm happy enough with that. I'll take third, and didn't really destroy the race car. I know I got in a couple of little scuffles, but I'll take it. Good points day, as they say, right?
Yeah, Josh, is there you kind of mentioned it, as I guess I was going to ask if there's anything else you could have done there to try to go for the win, but maybe even looking further back into the race, is there anything else you could have done to get more track position? You were, I think, involved in that very first big one. So,
Yeah.
it seemed like you got a little bit fortunate to be in front of some of that stuff, but then, you needed a couple more spots, and I think you would have been in good shape for it. So, take us through some of those bigger wrecks and those bigger moments earlier in the race.
Yeah, trying to remember for the most part. I know I sort of kind of caused one. I know it was a racing deal, but I was checking the mirror, kind of brushed the wall, then got tagged and kind of caused a little bit of calamity. But after that, well, let's see. No, there was another one where I hit the 6 car kind of head on. I got like 40 seconds of damage from that, all on the nose. I kind of figured I would be done for after that, but I fixed it, restarted 38th. Luckily had a teammate behind me and pushed me right up, and I got linked with the 19. And him and we were kind of trying to squeeze it up the middle as best we could. And I honestly, I can't think of a moment where, other than, at the very end, just getting better lane choice or something like that to be a row further forward would be about the only thing I could think of. Otherwise, I think I was pretty fortunate to end up front, given the fact that I started 38th with about 40 to go. So yeah, a lot of, woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of things maybe, but it worked out.
This is definitely good for you and Pro Edge, able to get two top three, two drivers into the top three. But overall, good run for you. I know how hard it is in this series with points and everything, being able to collect them. But this is a good way for you to start off the season strong. What's your output and your outlook for the rest of the season here?
Yeah, for years in the Cup Series, I was able to just make the playoffs on points every year, and it was whatever. But the last 3 or 4 seasons, it's gotten really, really tough to do that. Especially last season. I mean, last season was my worst by far. I mean, the first 6 or 7 races, I think I finished an average of like 31st every race, like breaking toe links left and right. Just couldn't stay out of my own way, couldn't stay out of anyone else's way. Just in every incident that happens, but. Hopefully this is a sign of better things to come. I'd like to just be able to finish consistently, and not put myself in any kind of danger and finish where I feel like I should. Maybe a little better, but definitely not giving a bunch of points away, because definitely staying consistent, I think, is still a good path to taking a playoff spot. And then, who knows with how the rounds shake up. And I know we always have a road course and a super speedway in that first round. You never know what might happen. So, yeah.
Well, Josh, any shout outs for us here before we send you off after this third place finish in the Daytona 500?
Yeah, all of the Pro Edge teammates. Certainly the winner, Matthew Weeks. He's well deserving. I know he always circles Daytona. He loves this place. He's a Denny Hamlin fan. I know Denny Hamlin loves this place. So him and David Tooker and RC. I know Tooker blinked out at the end, and he was probably just as deserving, right? If he was still up there, maybe it would have been a different story. I know most of them are, hanging out every night of the week at times, it feels like. But thanks to you guys as well for putting everything on. I know there was some technical stuff earlier on, but I'm sure it worked out, and appreciate everything you guys do. And I guess Chad for putting the league on. We have to put up with him, but.
Well, that was your third place driver there, able to push his teammate to the win, Joshua Clark for Pro Edge. Good job for Joshua here tonight, and we're going to go ahead and bring up our Daytona 500 winner, make that 2-time Daytona 500 winner there. I spoke to you yesterday a lot, Matthew, in the podcast that we had, and we kind of talked about how, look back at some of the races and talked about how some of these guys got their wins and everything. How did, if we go into the future, how will this be talked about? How did you get this win for the Daytona 500?
Oh, I was on mute. It was a lot of part to Clark. I mean, he was telling me, they all wrecked, and it was just so if he didn't push me in 3 and 4, I probably wouldn't have got it. But looking back, it's probably one of the better ones with how the racing was. I think there's like 30-something plus cars still in the lead lap. I mean, a lot of green flag runs. It was a really good race. So hopefully it's one of the better ones.
It was a fun race from our end, Matthew, but take us through, I guess, the path to the victory there. I mean, you were up, you made your move right before stage 2 and captured the stage 2 win, and then never kind of left the top 10 or so. So was, acquiring that track position right around that stage important to you? And, was that kind of your path to victory and your plan going in?
Yeah, my plan when I come to these tracks is I like to wait until the first green flag stop before I do anything, just to get a feel of how everyone's racing and everything. And so once we made that first green flag stop and we were just going, I'm like, I want to get up front. I knew track position really meant a lot now with how the body change of the car has felt different with the body change update last week. So I just wanted track position and try to stay up there the entire race so I can be there at the end. So that's what we were doing. We worked well with a lot of people and stayed, like you said, up there in the top 10 pretty much all day long. And at I think that last stop, 160 something, 163, I think we put it under caution and we were like, we're just going to stay out and stay up front the entire time. That was our plan.
Well, it worked out perfectly for you for sure there. Able to get the second one here to for yourself, for your team, for Pro Edge and everything. I mean, what an incredible night. I mean, how difficult was it out there? I mean, we saw 3Y was not working. 2Y was the way to do it. Did you know that you were going to have to be out front early on to be able to make it work?
Yeah, definitely. You had to be in that top 6 if you wanted to win the race at the end. So that was the main goal, was to stay up there. And once we got up there, just like when Trey and I were up on the outside, we just wanted to stay there because the bottom, you can get a run up there, but the side draft just kills that momentum. So we were just trying to stay on the top and just keep control of everything.
Able to get it done, Matthew. We want to go ahead and let you do your thank yous and shout outs. You're a 2-time Daytona 500. You're catching up to your real life fan or your real life driver that you enjoy, Denny Hamlin, with the 500s. Maybe the 11 is following you in other ways here, but yeah, good job there. We want to go ahead and let you do your thank yous and shout outs to your team and to your sponsors.
All right, yeah. Unlike Hamlin, I know how to win a championship. So shout out, 213, man. They've been on this car for 2-3 years now, man. I love that group. He's always backed me, always here. All the Pro Edge guys, we work so well together. Good friends for so long. Fueled up guys. A huge shout out to Trey. He kept me up there for a long time, just working the outside. Shout out to Clark on the Pro Edge side too, man. If I wouldn't have won that race without him. Betty, who watches over there, that is with Ethan. She watches. Shout out to her. Shout out to JV Designs. He paints these beautiful schemes of mine. It's Justin Vandermeer. You guys in the booth, I know y'all had a struggle at the start, so I'm glad you stuck with it and stuck around the race and watched a good race. And everyone that watched, man, it was fun.
Absolutely. Well, again, congratulations to you. And we will probably be hearing more from you as we go along. Homestead next week, and now you got yourself locked in into the chase, and now you can focus on just being able to get more of these wins for the rest of the season.
Exactly. We're gonna stack these up.
There you go. That's our Daytona 500 champion here, Matthew Weeks, able to get it done for his team Pro Edge, and for me, David, I'm exhausted because there was a lot going on, and you couldn't look away for those last 30 laps. You just couldn't look away because there's just so much going on, and boy, it tires you out after a while, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, we got a job up here. We got good work, and ultimately, Weeks mentioned how trying that first stint of this race was, and we had a second stream up and everything, and it seems like that was ancient history, right? Once we got everything going, this race was awesome. We had like 67 viewers at one point, so thank you for watching, everybody, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week at Homestead. This should be a fun series, and like they said, right, it's getting more and more competitive every year, and it's hard to win these things, and Matthew Weeks comes out on top. That was my pick, by the way. Just so you know, my pick.
Oh, not bragging about it at the end, huh? But
that's the very end, right?
At the very, very end, yeah. Well, from everyone here at the Elite Racing Network, we appreciate you all. We appreciate David Westergreen for joining, Alex for joining in as the pit road guy, and of course always David Huckleberry bringing these wonderful shows, putting his time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears, and sometimes a little bit of frustration into it. But overall, thank you to David Huckleberry for being able to be the best producer you could have at these events. And of course, everyone that tuned in tonight, you're gonna want to tune in. Of course, next Friday or next Wednesday. What day is it? Next Wednesday for the Homestead race. As we learn a lot with these new tire models, and these drivers learn a lot as far as who's going to be the championship favorite here when it gets down to it. But other than that, thank you. My name is Gerald Campbell. Have a wonderful night, and of course, stay friendly, stay happy.